Welcome back, members. So, I would request C. Manjunath sir to escort C. Anil Bharadwaj sir, our speaker, onto the dais, and welcome him with a floral bouquet. I take this privilege to introduce our last but probably the best speaker coming up. C. Anil Bharadwaj is a fellow chartered accountant and a prominent finance educator with over a decade of experience in taxation, particularly in GST, investment planning and financial awareness. As a senior and founding partner of Bharadwaj and Hosmat Chartered Accountants, he combines professional expertise with his passion for teaching, having served a visitor professor across several reputed institutions in Karnataka. Known for his ability to deliver complex tax concepts in Canada, he has conducted over 300 plus seminars on GST and has been a resource person in 50 plus national conferences. His influence extends from urban corporate training to rural financial literacy outreach, making him a widely respected figure in Indian taxation landscape. In academic roles, he has played as IQAC member of Vasavi Vidya Niketan College, Bangalore, a Board of Studies member, Mount Carmel College, St. Claret College, co-opted member of Syllabus Review Committee of Bangalore University, and he has also been given key contributions and expertise in investment and tax planning, delivering multiple corporate training programs on wealth creation and portfolio management. And he's been a very regular involvement into ICI activities and sessions. So without and also we have a very good chance of he was the best comedian for 3 continuous years in Bangalore University and Kannada and Cultural Department, Government of Karnataka, and he's also a best mimicry artist. So we all have a chance. We'll request him to give ಅಲ್ಲ ಸೀಕ್ರೆಟ್ ಕ್ರೆಡಿಟ್ ಹೆಂಗಾದ್ರೂ ಬರುತ್ತೆ ಸರ್. ಒಂದು 5 ನಿಮಿಷ 10 ನಿಮಿಷ ನಮಗೂ ಒಂದು ಕಾಮಿಡಿ ಹೇಳಿ ನಗಿಸ್ಬಿಡಿ ಸರ್ ನಮ್ಮನ್ನ. Comedy or mimicry. Maybe the crowd should be demanding instead of me. So probably he should start with it for 5-10 minutes and then continue with the session. It's our kind request from the audience, sir. Over to you, sir.
Thank you very much, Nischal, for.
It's a very difficult time for me to discuss on any particular aspect. I know some of you are waiting only for the register to come and sign it and run away from here. ಬಿಟ್ಟು ಈಗಲೇ ಓಡೋಗ್ಬಿಡಕ್ಕೆ ರೆಡಿ ಆಗಿರುವಂಥ ಸುಮಾರು ಜನಗಳನ್ನ ನಾನು ನೇರವಾಗಿ ನೋಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೇನೆ. ಆದರೂ ಐ ಸ್ಟಿಲ್ ಫೀಲ್ ಸಮ್ ಆಫ್ ದಿ ಬರ್ನಿಂಗ್ ಐಸ್ ಟು ಡಿಸ್ಕಸ್ ಆನ್ some of the fireful topics on GST and income tax.
Comedy ನೋಡೋವರೆಗೂ
that's a wonderful thing. ನಾನು ಕೊನೆಯಲ್ಲಿ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ ಅದು ಬಹಳ ಒಳ್ಳೆಯದಾಯಿತು. Dear friends, today I will not speak on the provisions, ಯಾವಾಗ GST ಅಪ್ಲೈ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ, ಯಾವಾಗ ಅಪ್ಲೈ ಆಗಲ್ಲ, those things we already know. Today I focus on only niche areas. Being the auditors of cooperative societies, cooperative banks, I feel some of the areas we should focus now. Okay, and I will not take up much of your time. We will wrap up as quickly as possible. I will today touch upon GST first and then go to income tax, and especially in GST, as I visit as I have visited almost all the districts of Karnataka, especially to speak on GST and income tax of cooperative sectors, only cooperative sectors that I am speaking on today. At least 80-85% of the societies would have not registered under GST. Even after 8 years of introduction of GST, unfortunately, I see at least 80-85%. If I ask someone, ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಎಷ್ಟು ಜನ GST ರಿಜಿಸ್ಟರ್ ಆಗಿದ್ದಾರೆ, ಕನ್ನಡದಲ್ಲಿ ಇಂಗ್ಲೀಷಲ್ಲಿ ಮಾತಾಡಿದ್ರೆ ನಮ್ಮ ಒಂಥರ ನೋಡ್ತಾರೆ ಅವರು, ಎಷ್ಟು ಜನ GST ರಿಜಿಸ್ಟರ್ ಆಗಿದ್ದಾರೆ ಅಂತ if we ask, 80% of the people raise the hands. That's the unfortunate thing. And the most problematic and other things. Even in Bangalore, I don't do cooperative society audits, but I take up tax audit for societies. 44 tax audits tagotidi. Many chartered accountants, unfortunately, would have not commented on non-registration of GST. They would have come for 44AB tax audits, but they would have not registered under GST. Their turnover is definitely more than the threshold limit, but would have not got the registration. So we have a utmost important responsibility to ensure that they get registered, so that we are handholding them and ensuring that they are registering. Second, if they don't listen to us, I know 90% of these societies will not listen to us. That's why I am not taking up the audit. They will not listen to us. We will have to listen to what they say sometimes. So it is very difficult. We will have to at least mention it as an observation that they are not registering. Register ಆಗಿಲ್ಲ ಅನ್ನೋದನ್ನ ಒಂದು observation ನಾವು ಹಾಕಲೇಬೇಕು. We have to modify the report to that extent anta it is my opinion. Secondly, I am focusing on some of the aspects on supply matter. What should be included in the supply and what should not be included in the supply. There are certain areas where there is a debatable issue. So I am touching upon that debatable issue. Secondly, and thirdly, there are certain areas where ITC is considered where it is not allowable. It is blocked under section 17(5), but still we being auditors are unable to, or either we are saying that they are not agreeing for it. We have to ensure that those complaints are met. And of late there are new changes that has come in GST regarding RCM and ICD input service, ISD input service distributor. So those aspects are touching, and what may be the consequence if the non-compliance of those things, and what are the remedies is what I am touching upon in GST. And secondly, I am going to income tax. In income tax, I am touching upon 80AC, 80P and 194N, 194A to some extent, and 269SS and 269ST is the area that I am focusing on today's discussion based on the practical aspects. Theoretical agi ಆ ಪ್ರಾವಿಷನ್ಸ್ ನ ಓದಿ ಅದರ ಇಂಟರ್ಪ್ರಿಟೇಷನ್ ಮಾಡೋದಕ್ಕಿಂತ ವಾಟ್ ಮೇ ಬಿ ದ ಬೆಸ್ಟ್ ಅಪ್ರೋಚ್ ದಟ್ ವಿ ಕ್ಯಾನ್ discuss upon. And I also request the fellow members here to enrich me with any other topics which you want me to discuss here. If at all, if I know that topic, I will definitely discuss with you. Anything that you want me to specifically stress upon? Defective return. SFT transactions. SFT transactions ನಾನು ಅದ್ರ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಏನು ಮಾತಾಡ್ಬೋದು ಕೊನೆಯಲ್ಲಿ ನೋಡ್ತೀನಿ.
Residential property.
Residential
societies.
Residential societies, you mean what exactly, sir?
Residential welfare societies.
Huh? Resident welfare associations, not societies. Apartment societies, you are saying. Okay. That is again a different area. We will see if we have a time. We will discuss upon next.
Sir, taxation on interest on deposit.
That I am definitely focusing on, madam. ATP, when I am saying interest on deposits, I am touching. Okay. So the types of non-compliances that I have listed out, as I have already told: failure to obtain the registration, non-filing or delayed filing of returns, incorrect reporting of outward and inward supply, excess or fraudulent ITC claims, non-payment or short payment of taxes. These are all some of these things that we, day in and day out, we are coming across situations, and especially in cooperative societies. The very first thing, non-obtaining the registration is the biggest problem. So wherever we go, I proudly say at least in 3-4 years the percentage from 95% has come down to 85 to 80% because of huge educational seminars taken both by ICAI as well as Federation, Cooperative Federation. The things are happening and registrations are being taken. So many times what happens, these non-compliance of registration, non-registration may lead to straight away 10%, 10,000 rupees penalty, and also compulsory registration. They will do by default, they will take the registration and calculate all the probable tax liabilities since when they had to get the registration, and they go back up to 5 years, as long as up to 5 years to ensure the tax liability and the supply, and calculate the liability and the penalty, and penalty, for God's sake, is 100% of the tax payment. ಸ್ನೇಹಿತರೆ, ಇದ್ರ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ನಾವು ಜಾಗೃತಿ ಮಾಡಲಿಲ್ಲ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ the very existence of society may itself have a problem. We may have to definitely comment on growing concern, assumption of the society if at all if the registration is not obtained. That is a important thing that we will have to focus upon. ಯಾತಕ್ಕೆ ಅಂದ್ರೆ 5 ವರ್ಷದ ತನಕ they can go back and do the calculation. We are in 24-25, they can go up to 19-20-21 ತನಕನೂ they can go, and for all the 5 years if they calculate plus interest plus penalty will definitely hamper their continuity of the business itself. And the very important thing, my dear friends, that may come across in registration, I suggest, or you can suggest your clients to have 2 types of registrations, especially for credit cooperative society. I am feeling composite taxation, composite scheme is the best way of getting the registration for only credit cooperative societies. How composite scheme can help them? Section 10(2)(a) is a definite provision where cooperative societies can think of. Usually in a regular registration, the GST will not apply. When it comes to supply on interest, the GST is not applicable. On other than income, GST is applicable at 18% rate, and they have to collect it from the member. If they go for a composite registration, the definition of turnover under composition scheme excludes interest again. So if other than interest is less than 50 lakhs, they can very much opt for composition scheme and pay tax at as low as 6%. So please go through section 10(2)(a) and suggest your clients that they can go for composition registration. The compliance burden comes down by 75%. That means they need not have to file monthly return. They can file only one return in a year, and they can avoid monthly payment and pay only once in a quarter, and that too at 6%. No doubt, at 6% they have to pay from their pocket and cannot collect it from the members. But will it not affect the society to its profit, on its profiteering? Will it affect, or you think it is not affecting? Because in regular registration they collect it from the member and pay to the government, but in composition they are not supposed to collect it, they have to pay it from their own pocket. So for that I have suggested few societies that if at all if the say charges is 1,000 rupees, and in regular registration they collect 18%, that is 180 rupees. 1,000 into 18% is 180. So member is contributing 1,180 rupees, and society is having only 1,000 rupees. 180 rupees it is paying to the government. Assuming they opt for composition scheme and pay 6%, I suggest them to increase their charges from 1,000 rupees to 1,100 rupees through their board resolution and other whatever is a bylaw, whatever their bylaw says. They have to amend the fees part and increase it by from 1,000 to 1,100 and pay tax 6% on 1,100. On 1,100, 6% is 660 rupees. Society is now getting 340 rupees, 1,340 rupees, and members' actual expense is 1,100 rupees. It is win-win situation for both society as well as member. Previously, member used to contribute 1,180. 1,180. Now he is paying only 1,100. Now he is paying only 1,100. Society previously was getting only 1,000 rupees. Now they are getting 1,100 minus 66. Minus 66. That is 6% on 1,166. 1,034 rupees they are getting. That means 34 rupees increase they are getting for compensating the ITC that they are foregoing. Because in composition scheme they cannot claim input tax credit. In a way, in cooperative society they are not getting 100% ITC, they are getting only 50% flat ITC. So for non-getting of that 50% of ITC, they have to get compensated with this 34 rupees. So that both of them are on the beneficial mode. So you can suggest either to go for composition or regular registration as you feel fit for that particular society. And it is very much beneficial for both of them. Any question on this?
The 50% is only for RBI licensed cooperative bank.
No, it is not there in the act. It says any financial institution which is engaged in banking activity. So not necessarily RBI licensed. It can be taken by society also. Societies, we are not letting them to take more than 50% ITC.
Credit cooperative society.
Credit cooperative society only specifically.
For some of the GST officers insisting proportionate ratio of interest amount and other than interest amount.
That's what, sir, GST officers ಏನಾದರೂ ಹೇಳ್ತಾರೆ sir. But our stand, I have represented several of these cases and multiple decisions have been taken by different officers. But more or less when we read the provisions, it is very clear that when a financial institution engaged in banking service, any organization or any taxpayer engaged in financial activity or banking service, they are very much eligible for this 50% bracket, and it is widely accepted across Karnataka at least. Any other question on composition scheme? If you have any doubt, I can clarify. And now, instead of GSTR 1 and 3B, they have to file GSTR 4. That once in a year. And we are also coming across some of the problems where in the previous year, if they have declared interest in exempt turnover, and if it crosses 1.5 crores, if the turnover of the society crosses 1.5 crores, GST website is not allowing them to go for composition scheme. For that, we have spoken to Commissioner of GST, and in special cases they are allowing. They are changing and allowing. So if at all, if you have such problems, you can directly approach head office GST in Karnataka near Majestic, Gandhinagar office, and they'll assist you with it. IT department will definitely assist you with it. Any other questions? I can go ahead. The next important one is non-filing or delayed filing of returns. You all know, I will not speak much about it. We'll have to ensure that the returns, both GSTR 1 and 3B, are filed on regular periods before due date. From past 1 or 2 months, we have been receiving lot of notices immediately after the date of filing the return, immediately after due date. 20th is the due date, 21st we are receiving the order itself, not even the notice. Previously the notice used to come, now the order itself they are passing, they are not supposed to pass actually. At least 3 months should elapse from the date of due date, from the due date, to pass any order for non-payment or non-filing of returns. At least 3 months should have elapsed. Only then it becomes an offence. Other than that, only late fee and interest are the consequences of non-filing. Just from this month, the government has the government is putting highest pressure on the inspectors and the officials of GST for collection. They are coming to premise and asking whether you have filed or not. They see the non-filers list, they directly come to the registered office and asking for filing of returns or passing of an order. In that way, some of the other things are also exposed. Because in some of the societies, even today, the GST number is not displayed. Small things, but leading to 25,000 rupees penalty. So displaying the GST number is a very small thing, where CA's interference is very least. Okay. When they call us and tell, sir, GST department in there, ಯಾರು ಡಿಪಾರ್ಟ್ಮೆಂಟಿಂದ ಬಂದ್ಬಿಟ್ರೆ ಅವರಷ್ಟು ಒಳ್ಳೆ ಜನ ಪ್ರಪಂಚದಲ್ಲೇ ಯಾರೂ ಇಲ್ಲ. ಕದೀಮ್ರು ಯಾರು? ನಾವುಗಳು. ಸರ್ ನಮ್ಮ ಸಿ ಎ ಹೇಳೇ ಇಲ್ಲ ಸರ್ ನನಗೆ, ಸರ್ ನೀವು ಹೇಳೇ ಇಲ್ವಲ್ಲ ಸರ್ ನಮಗೆ ಅಂತ ಅಲ್ಲೇ ಅವ್ರ ಮುಂದೆ ನಾಟಕಗಳು. So we have to be extremely careful, and when we are sending our article and when we are visiting, we have to look into this small aspects and ensure these things are complied. Because I have 4-5 cases happening this month where they visit personally and ask us to file the returns. In that way, other things are also coming into light. So the next thing is incorrect reporting of outward and inward supply. First I will speak on the outward supplies, then I will go to inward supply. Dear friends, the very important area that we need to focus is on supply. What is supply for cooperative societies, especially credit cooperative society that I am speaking today. For a credit cooperative society, 2 important supplies are there. One, interest, which is an exempt supply. Second one, other than interest, which is a taxable supply. In this other than interest, there are many aspects like bank charges, legal charges, documentation charges, account maintenance charges, membership fee, share fee, and this e-filing of e-stamp paper they will sell, and commission charge on e-stamp papers. So these are some of the things. The niche area where the things are with things have difference of opinion is the contribution to the funds, contribution to death fund, contribution to building fund, contribution to staff welfare, member welfare fund. Like this, there are many funds where these contribution will never come to their income and expenditure at all. It will not be appearing in P&L account at all. It will directly go to balance sheet. It's a balance sheet item. When we look into income and expenditure account and consider the turnover only from income and expenditure account, again the supply whatever is disclosed will be a questionable thing, because any supply for consideration in course or furtherance of business as per section 7 of GST, even contribution collected from the members, for all these funds will also attract GST. It is different from donation. I have discussed it with a lot of chartered accountants, and some of them have opined that it is a donation. Donation has no consideration, hence no GST comes. Donation is different from contribution to funds, my dear friends. Donation is a voluntary contribution without consideration. Of course, for such a donation, GST will not apply, because the very important leg of the charging section 7, the consideration is missing there. Whereas, when the contribution to the fund is happening by the member, and there is a restriction, if you pay the building fund, then only you can be allowed into the society as a member, or it is coupled with membership or renewal of membership, then it is definitely a supply under GST. Though it does not come under P&L account, in GST, as we all know, whether it is revenue or capital, it is irrelevant. We have to focus whether any of these funds are increased in the balance sheet from previous period to this period. Again, increase may happen in 2 ways. One, a percentage of profit set aside, allocation of profit to these funds are different from contribution received from the members. If it is an allocation of the profits, then GST will not apply. If it is contribution received, we will have to be very focused in reporting this contribution into the taxable supply. Any questions on this? If it is received from a nominal member, sir, definitely in supply, whether it is a member or nominal member, doesn't arise. All these nominal member ಅವೆಲ್ಲ ಸೊಸೈಟಿ ಆಕ್ಟ್ ಇಲ್ಲ ಇನ್ಕಮ್ ಟ್ಯಾಕ್ಸ್ ಆಕ್ಟ್. GST ನಲ್ಲಿ ನೀವು ದೇ ಡೋಂಟ್ ಡಿಫೈನ್ ರೆಗ್ಯುಲರ್ ಮೆಂಬರ್ ಅಂಡ್ ನಾನ್ ರೆಗ್ಯುಲರ್ ಮೆಂಬರ್ ಅಂತ ಡಿಫರೆನ್ಶಿಯೇಟ್ ಮಾಡಲ್ಲ. ಡಿಡ್ ಯು ರಿಸೀವ್ ಮನಿ? Is it supply? Consideration? Yes.
Sir, if you want-
Yes. Actual contribution received from the member. Yes. Sorry, I did not get. I can't hear you. That's what, sir. Allowing them to be a member itself is a consideration for them to pay. Because at the time of entry of at the time of making the person as a member, they are collecting, or if they are making the renewal of a membership, they are coupling it with these activities. Only then it becomes supply, and consideration is that.
Sir, if it is
If at all, ಇವಾಗ ನಾವೇನೋ ಸೊಸೈಟಿ ಬಿಲ್ಡಿಂಗ್ ಕಟ್ತಿರ್ತಾರೆ, ಮೆಂಬರ್ಸ್ ಸ್ವಇಚ್ಛೆಯಿಂದ ಸ್ವಪ್ರೇರಣೆಯಿಂದ ಹೋಗಿ ತಗೊಳ್ಳಿ 50,000 ರೂಪಾಯಿ ಕಟ್ಟಿ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ ಇಟ್ ಇಸ್ ನಾಟ್ ಎ ಸಪ್ಲೈ, ಬಿಕಾಸ್ ದೇರ್ ವಾಸ್ ನೋ specific consideration there. It's a pure voluntary donation. In such case, it will not be a supply. It is a non-supply under GST. But if it is coupled with any of these obligations, then it is GST-able.
Sir, while sanctioning the loan also they insist.
That's what I'm saying. If at all it is coupled with any other service, then it is GST-able. Sanctioning of loan ಆದಾಗಲೂ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ. Next, very important, yet another important thing is distribution of certain important items to the members. ಏನು ಇಂಪಾರ್ಟೆಂಟ್, ಏನು ಭಾಳ ಇಂಪಾರ್ಟೆಂಟ್ ಐಟಮ್ ಅಲ್ಲ. ಟುಡೇ ಐ ಹ್ಯಾಡ್ ಎ ಸೆಷನ್ ಇನ್ ದ ಮಾರ್ನಿಂಗ್ ಇನ್ ನ್ಯಾಯಮಿತ್ರ ಕೋಆಪರೇಟಿವ್ ಬ್ಯಾಂಕ್ ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ಅಡ್ವೊಕೇಟ್ಸ್ ಕೋಆಪರೇಟಿವ್ ಸೊಸೈಟೀಸ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಬೆಳಿಗ್ಗೆ ನಮ್ಮದು ಸೆಷನ್ ಇತ್ತು ಇನ್ ಸಿವಿಲ್ ಕೋರ್ಟ್. ಸೊ they did not have this idea. Because I knew what they do, I told them. They make diaries and calendars and distribute it to their members free of cost. As per the relative definition under GST, members and society are related parties. And if you supply anything to them free of cost, will still amount to supply as per Schedule 1 of the CGST Act. So in such case, they are in an obligation to calculate the value of supply for the diaries supplied to their members as well. So one way of looking at it is that they have to calculate the supply based on the valuation rules and pay the taxes on the value of the diary that they pay. Second, once if they do that, they can claim the ITC. If they don't do that, they are barred from claiming the ITC also, because any goods supplied free of cost under section 17(5) ITC is blocked. Many places, many areas, many societies, calendars are issued simply free of cost, but calendars would have been bought, printing cost would have been incurred, GST would have been taken on those things. We have to be careful in seeing whether the ITC is claimed on that or reversed on that. So on those things we will have to be extremely careful. So when we see whether to show that in the supply and then claim ITC, or don't claim the ITC at all, are the two options available. I just leave this option to you for the discussion now. What do you think is the best way? Whether option 1 is better. Option 1 is calculating the outward supply based on the valuation rules and then taking the ITC. Second, not calculating the value of supply but not taking the ITC also.
First option is better.
What do you think? How many of you think first option is better? How many of you think second option is better? It is not how many of us what we think. It is what is correct in law is the most important thing. Yes sir. Yes sir.
Second one.
ಮೈಕ್ ನೀವು ತಗೊಂಡ್ರೆ ಭಾಳ ಚೆನ್ನಾಗಿರುತ್ತೆ. ಯಾರಾದ್ರೂ ಮೈಕ್ ಇಲ್ಲ ಜೋರಾಗಿ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರು ಓಕೆ. ಥ್ಯಾಂಕ್ ಯು ಫಾರ್ ವಾಲಂಟಿಯರಿಂಗ್ ಸರ್.
I was just thinking of option 3. So the first issue which you raised, where you said that any contribution to the cooperative society is a consideration for supply. So maybe the consideration which is there, it's not specific to any particular supply. So what are the benefits that society is giving to its members in the course of its functioning? So should we say that whatever is maybe the, like kind of an example, calendars, should we say that all these benefits to the members are in pursuance of their being member for which the membership fee is already paid?
So ನೋಡಿ, ಈಗ there need not be direct nexus always, but usually in this case these funds are taken on a specific timeline. For example, as I told you already, either at the time of making them a member of the society.
Not specific
What?
funds.
No,
So
no.
general fees, membership fees if they are collecting.
No, general membership fee is anyway taxable. Is anyway taxable. There is no question at all. The consideration is allowing them to be a member of the society itself is a consideration. Okay, there need not be any other specific consideration. But if these funds are received in at the time of any particular supply, as sir told, at the time of issuing of loan or giving of loan, or at the time of making them as a members, or at the time of renewing their membership, or any other services, then it is definitely a taxable. If nothing of these sort is there, simply you being a member, go to society voluntarily. I am very overwhelmed from your response. Please take this 50,000 rupees for the building that you are planning or the demise of a particular person in the society, or for the welfare of the all people, for the welfare of everybody, whoever is serving. Whenever I come, they smile. So if all these things are there, then there may not be a question of supply there, because it's a voluntary contribution given to them.
That I agree. So I was just thinking, if pursuant to being a member, they are getting these benefits. So whether the initial contribution or whatever membership, maybe annual membership, what they pay, can we just say that okay, as part of to every member, the society is supposed to provide certain supplies of benefits?
You can say, but what is your point? I am unable to understand. What you are arguing, I don't know.
No, I
Or
am
you are
just saying.
suggesting anything to me, I am not
No, I am
understanding.
just asking.
Ah.
So for the purpose of taking input tax credit, we are saying there has to be a corresponding taxable outward supply.
Yes.
So I am saying the very fact that he is a member, he has given the membership fee to me, and in that return to that particular consideration, I am supposed to provide them the benefits as a member.
But giving the diaries or giving the calendar is not your primary service. That is very important. In such case, I can also argue today that I not argue, I just can say, I was telling in the cooperative societies, the challans, the stationary challans that they usually give, it is given free of cost. 1 ರೂಪಾಯಿ ಕೊಟ್ಟು ಒಂದು ಚಲಾನ್ ಕೊಡ್ತೀನಿ ಅಂತ ಅವ್ರೇನು ಹೇಳಲ್ಲ. It is given free of cost. That is very much necessary for doing the operation of the business of the society. Yes or no? But for issuing the calendar, issuing the diary, giving the pen on which the name is printed, the society's name is printed, is not the regular activity of the business. It is only to as a complimentary thing. It is given to the members. So in such case, there is no direct nexus, and we can't argue. That argument may not stand in the guise of law. For claiming the ITC is what my opinion is. But if you feel it is genuine, you can argue.
Maybe. Yes. So I am just thinking whether it is incidental.
Because it is specifically mentioned in the GST 17.70 section 17 subsection 5 that any goods which is given free of cost, which is given as a free sample, the ITC has to be reversed. Is a blocked credit. So that on guise of that, I am saying this is blocked. So when we actually kept this option for a poll and we got equal response for both option 1 and option 2. Thankfully people voted. In India people don't vote at all. Very happy I finished this. Do you have anything in connection to this? Yeah. My answer. Really, Jora did.
Cooperative bank, they collect additional members for banking growth, and they will reimburse with the government growth. They will collect and
ಸೊ ವೆರಿ ಗುಡ್ ಕ್ವಶನ್. ಆ ಥರ ಡೆಪಾಸಿಟ್ಸ್ಗಳು ನನ್ನ ವ್ಯಾಪ್ತಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ನೋಡಿಲ್ಲ. ಆ ಥರ ಡೆಪಾಸಿಟ್ಸ್ಗಳು ಮುಂಚೆ ಇಸ್ಕೊಂಡು ಕ್ಲೋಸ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕಾದ್ರೆ ವಾಪಸ್ ಕೊಡುವಂಥದ್ದು. ಯೂಶಲಿ ಶೇರ್ಸ್ ಹ್ಯಾಪನ್ಸ್.
ಹೇಳ್ತಾರೆ ಒಂದು ಅಡಿಷನಲ್ ಶೇರ್ ತಗೊಳಕ್ಕೆ ಇನ್ಸಿಸ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ.
ಅಡಿಷನಲ್ ಶೇರ್, ದಟ್ಸ್ ವಾಟ್ ಐ ಆಮ್ ಸೇಯಿಂಗ್.
ಈಗ ಕೆಲವು ಸಲ ಏನಾಗ್ತಿದೆ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಅಡಿಷನಲ್ ಶೇರ್ ಕೊಟ್ರೆ ಡಿವಿಡೆಂಡ್ ಕೊಡಬೇಕಾಗತ್ತೆ ಅಂತ ದೇ ಇನ್ಸಿಸ್ಟ್ ಫಾರ್ ಡೆಪಾಸಿಟ್.
ಸೆಕ್ಯೂರಿಟಿ ಡೆಪಾಸಿಟ್ ಒಂಥರ ಸೆಕ್ಯೂರಿಟಿ ಡೆಪಾಸಿಟ್ ತರ. ಸರ್, ಇಫ್ ಇಟ್ ಇಸ್ ಅ ರೀಫಂಡಬಲ್ ಡೆಪಾಸಿಟ್ as the definition itself suggests in consideration. The consideration definition now ನೋಡಿದ್ರೆ when we read the definition of consideration, in consideration definition itself they say if it is repayable deposit, refundable deposit, it will not be considered as consideration at all. So in such case it will not be supply at all. But it has to be properly specifically mentioned and should be kept aside as a liability of the society. So in such case you need not consider it as a supply. As and when it was appropriated towards any other cost, at that time it becomes the supply, like rental advance, like rental deposits. At the time of giving the rental deposits, it's not a supply, but subsequently when the rental deposit is appropriated for the rent payments, then it becomes the supply at that time, not at the time of deposit. Yes, sir. They provide? I think it is part and parcel of their on-job work. It's a very good question. They give diaries, they give bags, bottles. It can be considered as, it is given to employees specifically. For execution of their work, we can always argue. No. For outsiders only problem. Members, especially for societies to this one. Very good question though. Thank you. But I avoid any questions other than societies today.
In the case
Because of the time.
e-stamping, what's the turnover here? You have to consider.
Very good question, but the turnover for both share and stamping, the question I will repeat. What is the consideration to be considered as supply under GST for sale of e-stamping? The face value of both share and face value of both e-stamping should not be considered as a supply consideration. Only charges, share fee or membership fee or e-stamping commission that they charge 1.5% or 2%, 15 rupees, 20 rupees, whatever they consider, that can be considered as this one. What the supply, consideration for the supply. Second, I go one step ahead. If such sale of e-stamping is high, I have recommended my client societies to have a different set of printer and set of stationeries where they can claim the credit 100%. ITC can be claimed 100% because 100% of such commission is chargeable to GST, where there is a direct nexus on inputs and outward supply. You can claim the ITC fully. On the same idea that we had the poll now for option 1 and option 2, in the eyes of law, option 1 is more correct than option 2. What is option 1? If they are distributing free diaries and pens or whatever they are distributing free of cost, they have to calculate the supply based on the valuation rules, pay the tax on that, and then claim 100% ITC. Their ITC need not be restricted to 50% that time. Because there is a direct nexus of the printing and purchase of stationery and outward supply. So only common supplies are the problem. When it is fully utilized for payment of taxes, the direct nexus rule comes there, and 100% ITC can be claimed is what I have done in my experience.
So what is the amount we need to disclose the GST return filing? Total turnover, total amount including principal plus commission or only commission percent?
Only commission, sir. Only commission, because any investment in share or buying of E-stamp is transaction in money and buying of securities, which is the outside the purview of goods and services. Both the definition of goods and services, these purchase of shares and securities is kept outside the purview. So hence it is not taxable or supplied. Excess or fraudulent ITC is the biggest culprit and biggest challenge that we see on every assessment that we come across. One of such is this calendar and the other thing that I told. Secondly, 17.5, many of them we have to be very careful on vehicle maintenance. Vehicle maintenance is the biggest challenge. They would have claimed, and article assistants or juniors would have not taken into consideration those things, and it would have gone to repairs and maintenance. They would have not considered it in vehicle maintenance as a separate head. Repairs and maintenance ಹಾಕ್ಬಿಟ್ಟಿರ್ತಾರೆ. ರಿಪೇರ್ಸ್ ಅಂಡ್ ಮೇಂಟೆನೆನ್ಸ್ ಹಾಕಿದ್ರೆ ನಮಗೆ ಗೊತ್ತೇ ಆಗಲ್ಲ, ಹೌದಾ? ಸೊ ಹಾಗಾದ್ರೆ ಇವ್ರಿಗೆ ಹೇಗೆ ಗೊತ್ತಾಗುತ್ತೆ? ಹೌ ಡು ಡಿಪಾರ್ಟ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಗೆಟ್ ಟು ನೋ ಅಬೌಟ್ ಇಟ್? ಇನ್ ದ ಫೈನಾನ್ಷಿಯಲ್ ಸ್ಟೇಟ್ಮೆಂಟ್ಸ್, like how we oversaw or how our juniors oversaw. Similarly, why department is not it is not escaping department's eye? If you ask, HSN code, sir. Input 2B ನಲ್ಲಿರೋ ಎಲ್ಲ HSN ಕೋಡ್ ಅನ್ನು ತೆಗಿತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ ಅವರು. Based on HSN code they are saying ITC is not. ನಾವೇ ಹೋಗೋರು ಪಾಠ ಮಾಡಿ ಬಂದಿದ್ದೀವಿ.
ಕಮ್ಮಿ ಮಾಡಿ ಸರ್.
ಇನ್ಕಮ್ ಟ್ಯಾಕ್ಸ್ ಡಿಪಾರ್ಟ್ಮೆಂಟ್, GST ಡಿಪಾರ್ಟ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಫ್ರೀಕ್ವೆಂಟ್ ಆಗಿ ದೇ ಕೀಪ್ ಕಾಲಿಂಗ್ ನನ್ನನ್ನು ಕರೆಯುತ್ತೆ. ಸುಮಾರು ಸೀನಿಯರ್ ಚಾರ್ಟರ್ಡ್ ಅಕೌಂಟೆಂಟ್ಸ್ ದೇ ಕೀಪ್ ಗೋಯಿಂಗ್ ಅಂಡ್ ಟೀಚಿಂಗ್ ದೆಮ್. ಅವರ್ CCM member Madhukar Hiregange is a frequent person who goes and teaches both the department officials. So we ourselves teach them as to how to look into it, because we are the auditors. ನಾವು ಮಾಡಬೇಕಾಗಿರೋ ಕೆಲಸ ಒಂದೊಂದ್ಸತಿ ಏನು ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ, ನಾವು ಅದನ್ನ ನೆಗ್ಲೆಕ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಸಿಕ್ಕಾಕೊಳ್ಳುವಂಥ ಚಾನ್ಸಸ್ವೇ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಇರುತ್ತೆ. ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಸಿಕ್ಕಾಕೊಂಡ್ರೆ ಕ್ಲೈಂಟ್ಸ್ ನಮ್ಮನ್ನು ಅವ್ರ ಒತ್ತಾಯದಿಂದನೇ ನಾವು ಅದನ್ನ ನೋಡಿರಲ್ಲ, ಆದರೆ ನೋಟಿಸ್ ಬಂದು ಅವರು ನಮ್ಮ ನೋಡೋ ರೀತಿನೇ ಬೇರೆ ಇರುತ್ತೆ. ಏನೋ ನಾವೇ ಎಲ್ಲ ತಪ್ಪು ಮಾಡೋರಂಗೆ ದೇ ಸೇ ವಿಚ್ ಇಸ್ ರಾಂಗ್. ಓಕೆ, ಸೊ ದೀಸ್ ಆಸ್ಪೆಕ್ಟ್ಸ್ ಎಸ್ಪೆಷಲಿ they are seeing all these things through HSN code. So when HSN code comes into question, nobody can escape. That can also be one of the areas how we can improve our audit better. Our nodadre nave nodbiಟ್ಟು ಆಗೋಯ್ತಲ್ಲ ಕೆಲಸ. So that is also one of the aspects that I wanted to discuss. Secondly, inward supplies. So very new and off late which is coming into question is renting of immovable properties, especially cooperative societies or any other business for that matter, but today I am restricting it to cooperative society. ಯಾರ premises rental ಇದೆಯೋ, and predominantly if the rental immovable property is from an unregistered person, from an unregistered owner, then the obligation is on us from October 10th of 2024, after the notification, that we have to pay under reverse charge mechanism. Many of the societies and other companies are not completely following this. Of late we are receiving the notice and calls from the department. How they are getting to know whether we are in rental premise or not?
We have uploaded the
Through registration. Through registration. While taking the registration, we have uploaded the rental agreement. Takkante, it's a click of a button for them with this AI tool. ಒಂದು ನಿಮಿಷದಲ್ಲಿ ರಿಪೋರ್ಟ್ ತೆಗಿತಾರೆ, 2 ನಿಮಿಷದಲ್ಲಿ ನೋಟಿಸ್ ಡಿಸ್ಪ್ಯಾಚ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ.
ಎರಡು ಸರ್, ಎ ಅಂಡ್ ಯುವರ್ ಟ್ರೈನಿಂಗ್.
So, many of us, while doing the registration, though it is their own property, for ease of work and ease of compliance, we prepare the rental agreement and upload it, but actual rental payment would have not happened. That is also very important. In such case, if the rent is not paid at all, then the question of RCM never arises, because the very liability of RCM comes from payment voucher. So pay ಆಗಿರಬೇಕು. If it is paid already or if it is booked also. ಸುಮಾರು ಜನ ಪ್ರಾಕ್ಟೀಸು ಇದೆ, ಬುಕ್ಕಿಂಗ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಂಡ್ಬಿಡ್ತೀವಿ, ಹೌದಾ? ಅವ್ರ ಹೆಂಡ್ತಿದೇ ಇರುತ್ತೆ ಜಾಗ, ಡೈರೆಕ್ಟರ್ will be having their own premise as the business premise. They would be having the rental agreement in their parents' name, spouse's name, but booking the rent but not paid as a rent. Rent payable ಬೆಳೀತಾ ಹೋಗ್ತಿರುತ್ತೆ. ಪ್ರತಿ ವರ್ಷ ಬ್ಯಾಲೆನ್ಸ್ ಶೀಟ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ರೆಂಟ್ ಪೇಯಬಲ್ ಕೀಪ್ ಇನ್ಕ್ರೀಸಿಂಗ್, ನೆವರ್ ಡಿಕ್ರೀಸಸ್. So in such scenarios, even if it is booked and not paid, you always may have a RCM liability. So adana now we have to be very careful about it. And secondly, the question comes, how to account it? Now they are also asking for all RCM self-invoicing and payment voucher needs to be generated. Self-invoicing, we have to raise an invoice on our own self. ಯಾರು ಬಂದು ನೋಡ್ತಾರೆ? ನೋಡಿದಾಗ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಳ್ಳೋಣ ಬಿಡು. These are all the usual practice. Sir, again, this can be easily viewed in GST department that we are not complying. How? In GSTR1 there are two boxes. Table 13 clearly says, one box particularly, table 13 document issued. In the document issued, if you see, invoices for inward supply from unregistered person ide. Invoice for inward supply from unregistered person. So renting service from an unregistered person to us, we have to raise the invoice on ourselves, maintain the serial number of all RCMs that we have paid, and monthly we have an obligation to disclose it here. If we have not disclosed, and if he goes on the rental agreement, if he goes on the registration and takes out the rental agreement, sends you the invoice, we will be having no answers to come back. ಹೌದಾ? ಮಜಾ ಇದೆಯಾ? ನನಗೆ ಇವೆಲ್ಲ
ಚೆನ್ನಾಗಿದೆ ಸರ್, ಕೇಳಕ್ಕೆ ಬಹಳ ಇದಿದೆ,
ಮಾಡೋದು ಬಹಳ ಕಷ್ಟ.
So it should be shown only in 3B, not in GST.
No. GSTR 3B we have to show the supply, value of supply and the tax. It comes in 3B.
Yes.
But in GSTR1 you will not upload the invoice, but you will give the information of the invoice numbers.
In GSTR1.
ಅದನ್ನೇ ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಇದೀನಿ ನೋಡಿ ಇಲ್ಲಿ. Invoices from supply from unregistered person GSTR1 ನಲ್ಲಿ while filing the GSTR1 in table number 13 document issued ನಾವು ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ. What do we do? Invoice number starting from this to starting number ending number this. So many invoices we have raised, so many invoices were cancelled during the year. Net invoices during the year that anyway we will do. But many of the registered people, registered societies are not focusing on this table at all, on inward supplies. ಇಲ್ಲಿ ನಾವು ವ್ಯಾಲ್ಯೂ ಸಪ್ಲೈ ಮಾಡಬೇಕಾಗಿಲ್ಲ, ಆದರೆ ಇದನ್ನು ಮಾಡಬೇಕಾಗಿದೆ. ಆಸ್ ಅನ್ ಆಡಿಟರ್ we have to question this. Once if we question and put it in the audit report, they may correct it. First we have an obligation to take them into correct path, sir. That is our obligation. ಗತಿಯೇನು ಎನಗೆನುತ ಕೇಳುವವರ ಎಲ್ಲರೂ ಹಿತವೆಂತು ಜಗಕ್ಕೆಂದು ಕೇಳುವವರಾರು ಮತಿಯ ವಿಶ್ವದಿ ಬೆರೆಸಿ ಜೀವಿತವ ವಿಸ್ತರಿಸೆ ಪಥ ಮುಕ್ತಿಗಾಗಲೇ ಮಂಕುತಿಮ್ಮ ಅಂತ DVG ಹೇಳಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ನಮಗೇನಂತೆ, ಅವನದು ಕಂಪ್ನಿ ಸೊಸೈಟಿ, ನಾವು ಜಸ್ಟ್ ಆಡಿಟರ್ಸ್, ಇಫ್ ಹಿ ಹ್ಯಾಸ್ ನಾಟ್ ಕಂಪ್ಲೈಂಟ್ ವಿ ವಿಲ್ ಪುಟ್ ಇಟ್ ಇನ್ ಅವರ್ ರಿಪೋರ್ಟ್ ಅಂತ ಜಸ್ಟ್ ಇಫ್ ವಿ ಸೇ, ದೆನ್ ಅವರ್ reputation with the client comes down is what I have observed in my experience. Unless we guide them as to what requires and what needs to be done and whether their software is in line with all these requirements. Many of the societies don't have software itself. So it is societies especially, sir. we have to be extremely careful when doing the audit. It may be a black mark for ourselves and the professionals too. All these things, whatever I am teaching or discussing here, I am discussing in cooperative societies also. First we will tell them, ನೀವು ಮಾಡಬೇಕು ಇದನ್ನ, because all these things have to be done by cooperative societies themselves. Second, departmental auditors. Many of the GST registrations, non-happening of GST registrations of societies are owing to departmental auditors. Because they are doing and they are not very conversant in GST and income tax law, and they are only bothered about Societies Act. All these problems are high in societies. ಅದೇ ಪ್ರೈವೇಟ್ ಲಿಮಿಟೆಡ್ ಕಂಪನೀಸ್ ಅಲ್ಲೋ LLP ನಲ್ಲೋ ಇಷ್ಟು ಪ್ರಾಬ್ಲಮ್ಗಳು ಇರೋದಿಲ್ಲ. ದೇ ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಮೋರ್ ಫೋಕಸ್ on all these things, and we will also have more aggressive professionalism with them.
Here, we have to mention the outward supply document number. No?
Yes.
So, this is the question of mentioning the rent payment.
No, invoices for invoice supplies from an registered person, it's a self-invoicing. It is not their invoice. It is the invoice that we have created on ourselves.
No amount to be mentioned. Amount is not to be.
ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಬೇಕಾಗಿಲ್ಲ ಸರ್, ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಬೇಕಾಗಿಲ್ಲ. Here it only says whether you have generated self-invoice or not generated self-invoice. So if you have not mentioned it here and still generated, then ಒಂದು ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ನೀವು you can say ನಮ್ಗೆ ಗೊತ್ತಾಗಲಿಲ್ಲ, ಮಿಸ್ ಆಗೋಯ್ತು ಅಂತ. But auditor cannot say that. You have to tell the client to say that. You have to tell the client to say that. So ಈ ಥರದ್ದೆಲ್ಲ ಯಾಕೆ ಅಂತಂದರೆ, because other than being auditors, we are also consultants. When we are acting as a consultants, all these things plays a very important role. ನಾವು ಆಡಿಟ್ ಆಗ್ಬಿಟ್ರೆ ಭಾಳ ಸುಲಭ ಸರ್. ನಾವು ಇನ್ಸ್ಪೆಕ್ಟರ್ ಅಷ್ಟೇ, ಪೊಲೀಸ್ ನೀವು ಮಾಡಿಲ್ಲ ಅಷ್ಟೇ. ಬಟ್ ವೆನ್ ವಿ ಆರ್ ಕನ್ಸಲ್ಟೆಂಟ್ಸ್, ದೇ ಎನಿ ನಾನ್ ಕಂಪ್ಲೇಂಟ್ಸ್ ದೇ ಬ್ಲೇಮ್ ದೇರ್ ಫಿಂಗರ್ ಆನ್ ಅಸ್. ನಮಗೆ ಗೊತ್ತಿಲ್ಲ ಸರ್, ನಮಗೆ ಗೊತ್ತಿಲ್ಲ ಅಂತಲೇ ನಿಮ್ಮನ್ನು ಅಪಾಯಿಂಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಂಡಿದ್ದೀವಿ, ಫೀಸ್ ಕೊಡಲ್ಲ ಅವರು. ಈ ಮಾತು ಹೇಳ್ಬಿಟ್ಟು ಫೀಸ್ ಕೊಡಲ್ಲ, ಆದರೆ ನಿಮ್ಮನ್ನು ನಾವು ಅಪಾಯಿಂಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಂಡ್ರೆ ಅದು ಯಾತಕ್ಕೆ ಅಂತ ಡೈರೆಕ್ಟ್ ಆಗಿ ಹೇಳ್ಬಿಡ್ತಾರೆ. ನಾವು ಆಮೇಲೆ ಜಗಳ ಆಡೋದು ಒಂದೇ ದಾರಿ ಇರೋದು, ಬೇರೆ ಏನೇನೋ ದಾರಿ ಇರೋಲ್ಲ. ಸೊ ಅದಕ್ಕೋಸ್ಕರ ಐ ಆಮ್ ಆಲ್ಸೋ ಟೀಚಿಂಗ್ ದೆಮ್ ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ಟೆಲ್ಲಿಂಗ್ ದೆಮ್, ಪ್ಲೀಸ್ ಕೀಪ್ ಚಾರ್ಟರ್ಡ್ ಅಕೌಂಟೆಂಟ್ಸ್ ಫಾರ್ ಆಲ್ ದೀಸ್ ಸರ್ವಿಸಸ್ ಆಸ್ ಕನ್ಸಲ್ಟೆಂಟ್ಸ್. ಇಫ್ ಯು ಕೀಪ್ ಎನಿ ಅದರ್ಸ್, we cannot watch the accuracy or knowledge of that person. We can at least say chartered accountant is well versed with all these things, and you can ensure the responsibility on them. But others, ನಮಗೆ ಗೊತ್ತಾಗಲ್ಲ. They may be very good people. ನಾವು ಅವ್ರ ಹೊಟ್ಟೆ ಹೊಡಿತಿದ್ದೀವಿ ಅಂತಲ್ಲ, ಆದರೆ we are equipped to do that and we are qualified for doing it. Next, asking on legal fees is a very, yes sir.
ಲೀಸ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಇದ್ದಾಗ ಹೆಂಗೆ ಅಂತ.
Sir, lease is a refundable deposit, sir. When it is refundable deposit, the question of consideration never arises.
ಸರ್ ಹಂಗಂದ್ರೆ ಎಲ್ಲ ಲೀಸೇ ಮಾಡೋದು.
ಓನರ್ ಒಪ್ಕೋಬೇಕಲ್ಲ.
ಇಲ್ಲ
ಓನರ್ ಒಪ್ಕೊಂಡ್ರೆ ಎಲ್ಲ ಎವ್ರಿಬಡಿ ಕ್ಯಾನ್ ಡೂ ದಿ ಲೀಸ್ ಅಗ್ರಿಮೆಂಟ್. ಬಟ್ ಓನರ್ ಒಪ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಲ್ಲ. ಇವತ್ತಿನ ಇಂಟ್ರೆಸ್ಟ್ ರೇಟ್ಗೆ ಲೀಸ್ ವಿಲ್ ನಾಟ್ ವರ್ಕೌಟ್ ಅಟ್ ಆಲ್. ಬಟ್ ಇಫ್ ಇಟ್ ಇಸ್ ಅ ಲೀಸ್ ಅಗ್ರಿಮೆಂಟ್, ದೆನ್ ಕನ್ಸಿಡರೇಷನ್ ಇಲ್ಲ. Under GST, owner and tenant is not relatives, so they cannot say no consideration, still supply under Schedule 1. So lease agreement iddu no rental payment per month or per annum or for any time if there is no consideration, then unregistered person you can escape is what I feel.
In the case of income tax, they will be considering notional rent, even though it is not let out. Based on that criteria,
ಅದನ್ನೇ ನಾನು ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀನಿ. This notional rent in GST comes only if there is a Schedule 1 criteria. Schedule 1 criteria ಇದ್ದರೆ ಮಾತ್ರ no consideration, still supply ಬರೋದು. Supply considered to be taxable if consideration is not there. Schedule 1 ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಬರೋದು. Schedule 1 ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಯಾವ್ದು ಬರುತ್ತೆ? If transaction happens between related parties. So is owner and tenant a related party? Under related party definition? No. So in such case, notional rent cannot be considered for calculating the RCM liability. Yes sir. Okay na sir? ಇನ್ನೇನಾದ್ರು ಅಲ್ಲ ಓಕೆ ಅಲ್ವಾ? What do you think on this one? Next sir. Yes. ಯಾವುದಕ್ಕೆ? ಭಾಳ ಇಂಪಾರ್ಟೆಂಟ್. ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಬರ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೆ ನಾನು. ಭಾಳ ಒಳ್ಳೆಯ ಪ್ರಶ್ನೆ ಕೇಳಿದ್ರಿ. ಡೆಫಿನೆಟ್ ಆಗಿ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು ಸರ್. ಫಾರ್ ಆಲ್ ದೀಸ್ ಕಂಪನಿ, ಇಫ್ ಇಟ್ ಈಸ್ ಲೆಸ್ ದ್ಯಾನ್ 200 rupees or for institutions which are in banking, they can raise once in a month invoice if you want, or you can generate immediately upon receipt of the consideration. You have to definitely raise an invoice. It's a very important. And the non-issuance of invoices, again section 122 ನಲ್ಲಿ there is a penalty of 10,000 rupees for non-issuance of tax document. E-invoicing ಅವಶ್ಯಕತೆ ಇಲ್ಲ if their turnover is less than 5 crores. 5 crores ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಇತ್ತು ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಮಾಡಲೇಬೇಕು. Even if their interest and other than interest clubbing together, if it is more than 5 crores, they have to do e-invoicing.
From the
But B2C ಇರೋದ್ರಿಂದ you can avoid. ಒಂದೊಂದ್ಸತಿ ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ, ಇಲ್ಲಿ ನಿಂತ್ಕೊಂಡಾಗಲೇ ಮಾತುಗಳು ಬರಲ್ಲ ಸರ್. ನಾನು ಹೇಳ್ತೀನಿ ಕೇಳಿ, ಇಷ್ಟು ಜನ ಚಾರ್ಟರ್ಡ್ ಅಕೌಂಟೆಂಟ್ ಮುಂದೆ ನಿಂತ್ಕೋಬೇಕು ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ ನಮ್ಗೆ ಒಂದೊಂದ್ಸತಿ ಕಾಲು ನಡೆಯುತ್ತಾ ಇರುತ್ತೆ.
ಇಲ್ಲ ಸುಮ್ಮನೆ ಸರ್, ಲಾಸ್ಟಲ್ಲಿ ಮಾಡಕ್ಕೆ ಹೇಳಿತ್ತು. ವ್ಯಾಲಿಡೇಟರಿ ಮಾಡಕ್ಕೆ ಹೇಳಿತ್ತು, ನೀವು ಈಗಲೇ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ.
ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ ಟಾಪಿಕ್ ಸೆಲ್ಫ್ ಇನ್ವಾಯ್ಸಿಂಗ್ ಮತ್ತೆ ಪೇಮೆಂಟ್ ವೌಚರ್ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಏನಾದ್ರು ಡೌಟ್ ಇದೆಯಾ? ಮುಂದಕ್ಕೋಲ್ಲ. ನಾನು ತುಂಬಾ, ಬಿಕಾಸ್ ಯು ಆರ್ ಆಲ್ ಚಾರ್ಟರ್ಡ್ ಅಕೌಂಟೆಂಟ್ಸ್, ಐ ಡೋಂಟ್ ವಾಂಟ್ ಟು ಗೋ ವೆರಿ ಡೀಪ್ ಇನ್ ಟು ದಿಸ್ ಒನ್, ಬಟ್ ಓನ್ಲಿ ಡಿಸ್ಕಸ್ ದಿ ಥಿಂಗ್ಸ್. ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟು ಲೀಗಲ್ ಫೀಸ್ ಭಾಳ ಇಂಪಾರ್ಟೆಂಟು. ಇಟ್ಸ್ ಅ ಬಿಗ್ಗೆಸ್ಟ್ ಪ್ರಾಬ್ಲಮ್ I see. I don't know how you take this matter. Legal charges are collected, legal charges are paid. It's a supply, outward supply as well as inward supply, which is liable for reverse charge mechanism on the same item. On the same item, double taxation chances ಇದೆ, and GST will not negate this anywhere. ಯಾವ್ದು ಸರ್?
ಇದಕ್ಕೆ ವಾಟ್ ಈಸ್ ದಿ ರೆಮಿಡಿ ಇನ್ ಇನ್ಕಮ್?
ಇದಕ್ಕೆ ನಾನು ಹೇಳ್ತೀನಿ, ಅದನ್ನೇ ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಐ ವಿಲ್ ಕಮ್. ವಾಟ್ ಈಸ್ ದ ಆಕ್ಚುಯಲ್ ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ ಅನ್ನೋದನ್ನ ನಾನು ಹೇಳ್ಬಿಡ್ತೀನಿ, ಆಮೇಲೆ ಐ ವಿಲ್ ಕಮ್ ಟು ದಿ ಕಾನ್ಸಿಕ್ವೆನ್ಸ್ ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ರೆಮಿಡಿ. ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಕಾನ್ಸಿಕ್ವೆನ್ಸ್ ಹೇಳ್ತೀನಿ. See, when the societies are giving loan, they obviously collect the legal charges, document verification charges. So document verification charges, as it is other than interest, is a very much supply chargeable under GST. ಇನ್ನೊಂದು ನನ್ನ ಟಾಪಿಕ್ ನಾನು ಮತ್ತೆ ಇದರಲ್ಲಿ ಡಿಸ್ಕಸ್ ಮಾಡೋದು, ಆಮೇಲೆ ಬರ್ತೀನಿ. ಆನ್ ರೆಂಟಿಂಗ್ ಆಫ್ ಇಮೂವಬಲ್ ಪ್ರಾಪರ್ಟಿ ಅಪ್ಲಿಕಬಲ್ ಟು ಕಾಂಪೋಸಿಟ್ ಸ್ಕೀಮ್ ಡೀಲರ್ಸ್, ಕಾಂಪೋಸಿಷನ್ ಡೀಲರ್ಸ್ ಆಮೇಲೆ ಬರ್ತೀನಿ. ಇದನ್ನು ಬಿಕಾಸ್ ಐ ಆಲ್ರೆಡಿ ಸ್ಟಾರ್ಟೆಡ್, ಐ ಕಮ್ ಟು ದಿಸ್. ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ, when the society collects the legal charges or document verification charges, by default under forward charge mechanism GST is applicable, and it is also shown in the income and expenditure account credit side. By default ಅದು ಬಂದ್ಬಿಡುತ್ತೆ. Debit side, when we show the legal charges paid to advocate, by virtue of RCM the tax on that also comes. In RCM only 50% is allowed. ಹೌದಾ? ಸೊ ಇದಕ್ಕೆ ದಿ ರೆಮಿಡಿ ದಟ್ ಐ ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಒಪಿನ್ಡ್ ಇಸ್ the invoice from the advocate should be raised in the name of member itself. Should be done from the member itself, and also in the Cooperative Act and by law, the advocate should not be a member of the society who verifies the documents, should have an independence, he should not be a member. And in cooperative society, they are not supposed to pay from members account to a third party account. ಇವೆಲ್ಲ ಪ್ರಾಬ್ಲಮ್ಗಳಿದೆ, ಗೊತ್ತಾಗ್ತಾ ಇದೆಯಾ? ಸೊ ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಯು ಶುಡ್ ಇನ್ಸಿಸ್ಟ್ ಯುವರ್ ಕ್ಲೈಂಟ್, ಯು ಮೇ ಇನ್ಸಿಸ್ಟ್ ಯುವರ್ ಕ್ಲೈಂಟ್ ಟು ಪೇ ದೋಸ್ ಡಾಕ್ಯುಮೆಂಟ್ ಚಾರ್ಜಸ್ ಡೈರೆಕ್ಟ್ಲಿ ಟು ದಿ ಅಡ್ವೊಕೇಟ್ ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ನಾಟ್ ರೂಟ್ ಥ್ರೂ ಅವರ್ ಬುಕ್ಸ್ ಆಫ್ ಅಕೌಂಟ್ಸ್ ಅಟ್ ಆಲ್. That is a best way. How much ever it is possible or not possible is an individual society's concern. That I will leave it to your respective clients to decide upon it. But this is the only remedy that I have got. Otherwise, you pay a forward charge mechanism also, reverse charge mechanism also. If you don't pay, later notice comes, then ಎಲ್ಲದನ್ನು ಸೇರಿಸ್ಕೊಂಡು ಕಟ್ಟಬೇಕಾದಂತಹ ಪರಿಸ್ಥಿತಿ ಬರುತ್ತೆ. ಭಾಳ ಕಷ್ಟ ಸರ್, ಸೊಸೈಟಿಯವರು ಕನ್ವಿನ್ಸ್ ಮಾಡೋದಕ್ಕೆಲ್ಲ ಪೇಮೆಂಟ್ ಮಾಡೋದಕ್ಕೆ ಭಾಳ ಕಷ್ಟ. ಸೊ ಮುಂಚೆನೇ ಹೇಳುವಂಥದ್ದು ಭಾಳ ಮುಖ್ಯ. ಎನಿ ಕ್ವಶನ್ ಆನ್ ದಿಸ್ RCM of legal fee?
What about this litigation charge? The society pays directly to advocate.
No, madam, it is their own service that they are taking.
So they have to pay RCM.
RCM 100% they have to take.
It's a financial entity, they'll get only 50%.
That's all. That's all. So if it is their own litigation fee, then the question doesn't arise. Here I am predominantly speaking on the loan document verification charge by the advocate. Because if it is a litigation fee, the other effect, the income effect is not there here. It is only one effect. It is like any other entity. For cooperative society also it is applicable. But restriction of RCM, restriction of ITC is there to the extent of 50%. Yes, sir. After the then chargeable, taxable, supply, pure supply. If they collect it and then pay, though it is the same amount, pure agent ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರು. Pure agent also doesn't come here because by virtue of society's insistence they are going and taking it there. So ಇಲ್ಲಿಂದ ರೂಟ್ ಆಗಿ ಇಲ್ಲಿಂದ ಪೇ ಆಯಿತು ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ ಡಿಪಾರ್ಟ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಮೇ ಆಲ್ವೇಸ್ ಆಸ್ಕ್ ಫಾರ್ ಯು ಟು ಪೇ ಟ್ಯಾಕ್ಸ್ ಆನ್ ದ ಕಲೆಕ್ಷನ್ ಆಸ್ ವೆಲ್ ಆಸ್ ಪೇಮೆಂಟ್. And there is a problem in withholding. Usually ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ, ಪ್ರಾಕ್ಟಿಕಲ್ ಸಿನಾರಿಯೋ ಐ ಟೆಲ್ ಯು. 1 ಲಕ್ಷ ರೂಪಾಯಿ ಲೋನ್ ಸ್ಯಾಂಕ್ಷನ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ. 1 ಲಕ್ಷ ರೂಪಾಯಿ 5,000 ರೂಪಾಯಿ ವಿಥ್ಹೋಲ್ಡ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಇನ್ನು 95,000 ರೂಪಾಯಿ ಅಷ್ಟೇ ಮೆಂಬರ್ಗೆ ಕ್ರೆಡಿಟ್ ಕೊಡ್ತಾರೆ. ಸೊ 5,000 ರೂಪಾಯಿ ಹಿಡಿದಿದ ತಕ್ಷಣ ಯಾಕೆ ಹಿಡಿದ್ರಿ? This pure agent concept will not apply here because they are here to provide these loans. And this pure agent happens only if the advocate has raised the invoice to them. Advocate our ಹೆಸರಿಗೆ invoice raise ಮಾಡಬೇಕು. Advocate if he has raised invoice to us means society, then gone. Okay na sir? ಮುಂದಕ್ಕೆ ಹೋಗಾ? I'll come back to the immovable property from unregistered owners. They have excluded it for composition dealers. Again, one more criteria. ಸಿಕ್ಕಾಪಟ್ಟೆ ಬ್ಯಾಟಿಂಗ್ ಆಗ್ತಾ ಇದೆ ನಮ್ಮ composition dealersಗೆ. Wherever I go and give seminar for cooperative societies, I am asking them, please go for composition scheme so that your compliance burden comes down to a very minimum extent. ಓಕೆನಾ? ಭಾಳ ಸುಲಭ, ಇಡೀ ವರ್ಷಕ್ಕೆ ಒಂದೇ ರಿಟರ್ನ್ ಫೈಲ್ ಮಾಡುವಂಥದ್ದು. ದೋ ಅವರ್ ಫೀಸ್ ಮೇ ರೆಡ್ಯೂಸ್ ಬಿಕಾಸ್ ಆಫ್ ದಿಸ್. ಬಟ್ ಯಾರು ಬೇಕು ಸರ್ ತಲೆನೋವುದು? ಹೋಗಿ ದಿನ ಪ್ರತಿ ತಿಂಗಳು GSTR 1, 3B ಸೊಸೈಟಿ ಫೈಲ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಕೂತ್ಕೊಂಡ್ರೆ ನಾವು ಅಷ್ಟೊಂದು ಕಷ್ಟಪಟ್ಕೊಂಡು ಸಿ ಓದಿದ್ವಾ? ಐ ಆಮ್ ನಾಟ್ ಅದನ್ನ ನಾನು ಇದು ಮಾಡ್ತಿಲ್ಲ. ಕೆಟ್ಟ ಕೆಲಸ ಅಥವಾ ತಪ್ಪು ಕೆಲಸ, ಸಣ್ಣ ಕೆಲಸ ಅಂತ ನಾನು ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಇಲ್ಲ. ಫೀಸ್ ಸರಿಗೆ ಬರಲ್ಲ. ಅವರ್ ಪ್ರಾಬ್ಲಮ್ ಇಸ್ ದಟ್ ನಮಗೆ ಯಾವುದು ಸಣ್ಣ ಕೆಲಸ ದೊಡ್ಡ ಕೆಲಸ ಅನ್ನೋದಿಲ್ಲ, ಎಲ್ಲ ಒಳ್ಳೆ ಕೆಲಸ. ಆದರೆ ಫೀಸ್ ಬರೋ ಕೆಲಸ ನಮ್ಗೆ ಒಳ್ಳೆ ಕೆಲಸ. ಫೀಸ್ ಬರದೇ ಇರೋ ಕೆಲಸ ಯಾಕೆ ಮಾಡೋಣ ಸರ್? ಎಷ್ಟು ಜನಕ್ಕೆ ಅಂತ ಚಾಕರಿ ಮಾಡೋಣ? ನಾನು ಎಷ್ಟೋ ಜನ ಕೇಳ್ಬಿಟ್ಟಿದ್ದೀನಿ, ಆಮೇಲೆ ನನಗೆ ಟ್ರಸ್ಟ್, ಚಾರಿಟಬಲ್ ಟ್ರಸ್ಟ್ ಅನ್ನೋದು ಆಫೀಸು. ಸೊ ಚಾರಿಟಬಲ್ ಟ್ರಸ್ಟು ಈ ಥರ ಮಾಡೋದ ಕೆಲಸ. ನಾನು ಟೆಲ್ ಯು, all that charitable trust which is doing this corporate social responsibility, ಏನು ದುಡ್ಡು ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ ಸರ್ ಅವರು? ಬಟ್ ವಿ ಆರ್ ಡೂಯಿಂಗ್ ಆಲ್ ಫ್ರೀ ಸರ್ವಿಸಸ್. ಸೊ ಈ ಥರ ಸಜೆಷನ್ ಮಾಡೋದ್ರಿಂದ ಕ್ಲೈಂಟ್ ಆಲ್ಸೋ ಇಸ್ ರಿಟೈನ್ಡ್. ವಿ ಆರ್ ಆಲ್ಸೋ ಪ್ರೊವೈಡಿಂಗ್ ಯು ಪ್ರೊಫೆಷನಲ್ ಅಡ್ವೈಸ್. ವಿ ಆರ್ ಆಲ್ಸೋ ಡೂಯಿಂಗ್ ದಿ ಸರ್ವಿಸ್. ಒನ್ಸ್ ಇನ್ 3 months ಫೀಸ್ ಕಲೆಕ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡೋದು ಈಸಿ, ಒನ್ಸ್ ಇನ್ ಎ ಮಂತ್ ಕಲೆಕ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡೋದಕ್ಕಿಂತ. ಸೊ ಒಂದು ಪ್ಯಾಕೇಜ್ ಬೇಕಾದ್ರೆ ವಿ ಕ್ಯಾನ್ ಆಫರ್ ದೆಮ್. ಒನ್ಸ್ ಇನ್ ಇಯರ್ ಕೊಟ್ಬಿಡಪ್ಪ, ಇಷ್ಟು ದಿಸ್ ಇಸ್ ದ ಪ್ಯಾಕೇಜು, ನಿಮ್ಮ ಕಾಸ್ಟನ್ನು 5,000ದಿಂದ 3,000 ಕಮ್ಮಿ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದೀನಿ ನೋಡು. ದಿಸ್ ಇಸ್ ನೆಗೋಷಿಯೇಟಿಂಗ್ ಪಾಯಿಂಟ್. You will have a better negotiating point. I am just suggesting my points. Next. So these are some of the important aspects that I wanted to touch upon. GST especially on credit cooperative societies. ಇನ್ನೇನಾದರೂ ನಿಮಗೆ ಸ್ಪೆಸಿಫಿಕ್ ಆಗಿ ನಾನು ನೋಡಬೇಕು ಅಂತ ಅನ್ನಿಸ್ತಿದೆಯಾ? ಮರ್ತೋಗಿರೋದು
Credit society doing some trading activities also. That be in the case.
So other than very important thing, credit cooperative societies dealing in multi-purpose credit cooperative society ಅಂತ ಆಗುತ್ತದೆ. It is not a credit cooperative society. It becomes multi-credit cooperative society. Multi-purpose cooperative society ನಲ್ಲಿ we have to differentiate the business. Very properly we have to differentiate, and very important one more thing, we suggest these multi-functional cooperative societies to have multiple GST registrations for ease of working and for ease of compliance. Okay, trading separate and credit cooperative services separate. If the trading is separate, straight away they can claim the credit and other things. Here also, even if the single registration is there, and if the trading direct nexus between input and output supply, outward supply, they can very much claim the input tax credit. Talenovu iralla. We need not have to prove each and every invoices that department asks. We get irritated when we sit in front of the proper officer. He is an improper officer actually. ಪ್ರಾಪರ್ ಆಫೀಸರ್ ಮುಂದೆ ಕೂತ್ಕೊಂಡಾಗ ಏನೇನೆಲ್ಲ ಕ್ವಶನ್ ಕೇಳ್ತಾರೆ. ಸರ್, see, cab services, ITC should not be taken. Aeroplane services, where you go on a flight, where it is blocked, it is not blocked anywhere. ಏನು ಸಣ್ಣ ತಾನೆ ಬಿಟ್ಬಿಡಿ ಸಾರ್ ಅಂತ. ಏನು ಬಿಟ್ಬಿಡೋದು? ನಮ್ಮ ಫ್ಲೈಟ್ ದುಡ್ಡು, ನಾವು ಬಂದಿರೋದೇ ಅವ್ರನ್ನ ಪ್ರೊಟೆಕ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡೋದಕ್ಕೆ, ಬಿಟ್ಬಿಡಿ ಅಂದ್ಬಿಟ್ರೆ. So like this, there are several such things we have to be very careful upon. So adikoskara, because of this I said separate registrations between these different activities are always suggested under GST regime. If it is trading, they can very much claim all the input tax credit if at all it is taxable. If it is not taxable, they cannot claim as per section 17(5).
Primary agricultural cooperation.
Cooperative society.
Commission will come from public.
Sir, it is exempt from GST, sir. It is there in entry notification 12/2017. Any commission received from government by primary agricultural cooperative societies for distribution of these provisions, ಪಡಿತರ ವಿತರಣೆ ಏನಿರುತ್ತೆ ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಬರುವಂತಹ ಕಮಿಷನ್ ಏನಿದೆ, that is completely exempt from GST. It has to be mentioned as an exempt supply, and it is very much comes in the calculation of turnover. When we are calculating the turnover for GST registration, as you all know, the turnover includes exempted supply, taxable supply, zero rated supply, but excludes turnover, but excludes supply based on inward supply on which reverse charge mechanism is applicable. So exempt supply, taxable supply, zero rated supply, ಮೂರನ್ನು ಸೇರಿಸ್ಕೊತೀವಿ. So commission from government on distribution of provision under this ration scheme, that is also very much includable as an exempted supply, no GST on that.
So GST registration, even interest amount is also to be considered for the threshold limit.
Yeah, I am sorry if I have not spoken about it. I will speak about it now. See, we have to see turnover from two aspects. First, turnover as in regular registration. Second, turnover as per composition scheme. First, I will focus on regular scheme and regular registration. While calculating the turnover for regular registration, interest should not be excluded. It is very much a turnover because the definition of aggregate turnover, aggregate annual turnover, includes exempt supplies, taxable supplies and zero rated supplies. So all exempt supplies, whatever they do, irrespective of their category, ಒಂದು 123 ಏನು ಎಕ್ಸಾಮ್ಟ್ ಎಂಟ್ರೀಸ್ ಇದೆ ಅಂಡ್ ನೋಟಿಫಿಕೇಶನ್ 12/2017. Any of such supplies you have to consider for the purpose of calculating the turnover to get either registered or non-registered.
ಅದು ಒಂದು 1 lakh ಇರುತ್ತೆ,
ಹ್ಮ್.
others will be some 50 lakhs.
ಹೌದು, ಇದು 1 lakh ಇರುತ್ತೆ, ಬಟ್ ಸ್ಟಿಲ್ ದ ರಿಜಿಸ್ಟ್ರೇಷನ್ ಇಸ್ ವೆರಿ ಇಂಪಾರ್ಟೆಂಟ್. ನಾನು ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಹೇಳಿದ್ದು, ಈ 50 lakhs ಇಂಟ್ರೆಸ್ಟ್ ಇರುತ್ತೆ, 1 lakh ಅಷ್ಟೇ ಇರೋದ್ರಿಂದ the threshold limit 20 lakhs is applicable in such scenario. 20 lakhs is applicable. 40 lakhs is applicable for multi-purpose cooperative societies where exclusively they are dealing in taxable goods, or exclusively they are dealing in supply of goods. Okay. Whereas if they are also in supply of service, then they have to get registered if their threshold limit crosses 20 lakhs. So within 30 days also is a very important thing. If the society applies within 30 days, then they will get from the original date on which they cross 20 lakhs. If you apply after 30th, then again non-compliance under registration. The registration will come from the date of application. That is after 30 days. Original date inda baralla. Aa time ge they may always charge the GST. Second, when turnover is considered for the purpose of composition scheme under section 10(2)(a)(2). So composition scheme alli the aggregate turnover is still the same: exempt supply, taxable supply and zero rated supply, but it specifically excludes in proviso to section 10. Proviso to section 10, the turnover will not include exempt supply by way of interest specifically. Hence, interest need not be considered in calculating that 50 lakhs limit for applying this composition scheme, and only first time registration people can opt for composition scheme while they are taking the registration. If they already have a GST registration, they have to wait till March of every financial year. This composition scheme has to be opted before start of the financial year. So the window is open for opting for composition scheme is open only for 1 month from March to 1st of March to 31st of March. So we have to be extremely careful while deciding whether a client who is a society should go under composition scheme or not go under composition scheme. April 1ನೇ ತಾರೀಕು ನಾವು ನೆನೆಸ್ಕೊಂಡು ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ we become fool. April 1st Fool's Day ಅಲ್ಲೇ April Fool ಆಗ್ತೀವಿ ನಾವು.
So we can opt for both the schemes for some commodities.
No.
Separately.
Once you are a composition dealer, you have to be compulsorily composite dealer for all. And if you have multiple registration, once you opt for composition, you have to be composition dealer for all.
Even multiple registration.
ಹೌದು. Even if it is and multiple state ಅಂತಾನೂ ಹೇಳಕ್ಕಾಗಲ್ಲ, because composite dealers cannot deal outside the state. But anyway, credit cooperative societies are not authorized to do out of state. So ಎಲ್ಲ ಆಂಗಲ್ ಇಂದನೂ I feel in all possible angles for a credit cooperative society, composition is the best registration. ನನಗೆ ಬೇಕಾದ್ರೆ ಅವರು ಬ್ರ್ಯಾಂಡ್ ಅಂಬಾಸಿಡರ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬೋದು ಕಾಂಪೋಸಿಷನ್ ಸ್ಕೀಮ್ ಫಾರ್ ಕೋಆಪರೇಟಿವ್ ಸೊಸೈಟೀಸ್. ಸೀರಿಯಸ್ಲಿ ಸರ್, ಯಾರು ಅಷ್ಟೊಂದು ಬ್ಯಾಟಿಂಗ್ ಆಡೋದೇ ಇಲ್ಲ ಅದಕ್ಕೆ. ನಾನು 1 ಇನ್ನಿಂಗ್ಸು 2 ಇನ್ನಿಂಗ್ಸು 3 ಇನ್ನಿಂಗ್ಸು ಅಂತ ಆಡ್ತಾನೆ ಇರ್ತದೆ ಕಾಂಪೋಸಿಷನ್ ರಿಜಿಸ್ಟರ್ ಆಗಿ ಅಂತ. ಐ ಡೋಂಟ್ ನೋ ವಾಟ್ ಪ್ಲೆಜರ್ ಐ ಗೆಟ್. So any other question on GST?
In a society composition scheme, how about the RCM liability?
ಎಲ್ಲ RCM liability ಇರುತ್ತೆ except RCM on renting of immovable property from an unregistered owner. All other RCM is still there because they are specifically excluded in notification 7/2025 except ಇದು ಅಂತ ಯಾರು ಪುನಃ ನೋಟಿಫಿಕೇಶನ್ ನೀವೆಲ್ಲ ನೋಡಬೇಕು. ನೋಡಿ ನನ್ನ ಹತ್ರ ಡೌನ್ಲೋಡೆಡ್ ಇದೆ ಈ ಕ್ವಶನ್ಸ್ ಎಲ್ಲ ಆಂಟಿಸಿಪೇಟೆಡ್ ವೆಲ್ ಬಿಫೋರ್, ಬಟ್ ಇಫ್ ಐ ಶೋ ಇನ್ ದ ಟೈಮ್ ದಟ್ ಇಸ್ ಅವೈಲಬಲ್ ನಾವು, ಇನ್ಕಮ್ ಟ್ಯಾಕ್ಸ್ ಮುಟ್ಟಕ್ಕೆ ಆಗಲ್ಲ, ಇನ್ಕಮ್ ಟ್ಯಾಕ್ಸ್ ಜಗಳಾಡದಲ್ಲೇ ಇರುತ್ತೆ. Having said that, I will quickly go to income tax. On income tax, in income tax, I am focusing on 80 AC, 80P, 194N, 194A, 269 SS and 269 ST. ಇದಿಷ್ಟನ್ನು ನಾನು ಫೋಕಸ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು ಅಂತ ಇವತ್ತು ಯೋಚನೆ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದೀನಿ. ಸಮಯ ತುಂಬ ಕಮ್ಮಿ ಇದೆ, ಹಾಗೂ ಇರೋ ಸಮಯದಲ್ಲಿ ಎಷ್ಟು ಮಾಡ್ಬೋದೋ ಅದಷ್ಟನ್ನು ಪ್ರಯತ್ನ ಪಡ್ತೀನಿ. So 80 AC specifically, as we all know, we have to be very careful. We have to be very careful in ensuring all our client societies are filing their income tax returns on time. Many of us will have only statutory audit assignment and not tax audit assignment and not filing of income tax assignment. Many times what we do, for the fees that they pay, ನಾವು ಬರೀ statutory audit ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ ಸಾಕಾಗಿರುತ್ತೆ ಅಂತಲೂ ನಮಗೂ ಅನಿಸುತ್ತೆ. But we have to ensure that they are filing the income tax returns on time. For all the societies, it is 31st October because they have to get their books of accounts audited under Societies Act. So the due date is 31st October, they have to file. Those societies, very small percentage of societies of Karnataka, they need not even file the returns. They need not even file the returns within the due date and still opt for 80P because compulsory filing of income tax returns is not there. Under section 139(1), association of persons, society comes under association of persons. If their taxable turnover before taking 80P is less than the maximum tax that they are exempt from, that is 20,000 rupees, they need not file the returns. But if they are less than 0, again they need to do. Adike a very small percentage, the societies whose taxable income is, or whose taxable income before claiming 80P is between 0 and 20,000 rupees, they can escape from filing the returns and still survive. But if their income before taking 80P deduction is more than 20,000 rupees, they are required to compulsorily file the income tax returns and claim it. Second, one more provision which is coupled with this claiming of this filing of income tax returns. In fact, two more sections. One, whether they are specified persons. Whether they are specified persons under Income Tax Act 206 ಅಲ್ಲಿ specified persons definition ಒಂದು ಬಂದಿದೆ. If at all, if they have more than 75,000 rupees TDS and not filing the income tax returns for 2 years, will make them specified persons and all the TDS applicable to them is double or 5%, whichever is higher. So ಅದಕ್ಕೂ ನಾವು whether the society is filing the income tax returns or not ಅನ್ನೋದು ಮ್ಯಾಟರ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. So one is for claiming the 80P, second one to escape from considering to be as specified person or not specified person. Third very important thing is section 194N. Section 194N. What does section 194N say? TDS on cash withdrawal. That is the section where it is not taxed to their expense or income, but on their banking operations. Specifically, Credit Cooperative Society and PACs, the limit of cash withdrawal without TDS has been enhanced from 1 crore to 3 crores. Has been enhanced from 1 crore to 3 crores, provided they have filed all the 3 years returns previously. Immediately preceding to the previous year, all 3 income tax returns would have been filed by them. Whether within the due date or post due date is not a question there. Returns file ಮಾಡಿದಿರಾ, then your limit is 3 crores. Any one return is not filed out of 3 immediately preceding previous year, then the limit from 3 crores ಕಡಾರ್ ಅಂತ ಕೆಳಗಡೆ 20 ಲಕ್ಷಕ್ಕೆ ಇಳಿದ್ಬಿಡುತ್ತೆ. Beyond 20 lakhs, they are liable for TDS.
Higher rates.
And higher rate. 0 to 20, 0%, 20 to 1 crore, 2%, 1 crore and above, 5%. If they have filed all the 3 years returns, for cooperative societies, credit cooperative societies and for PACs only, it is from 1 crore increase to 3 crores if they have filed the returns. Beyond 3 crores, it is 2%. Beyond 2 crores, it is 2%. And one more important thing, worthwhile, you may all know, but still I will reiterate. In all other section, if the limit exceeds on the entire amount, we calculate the TDS. But only 194N, so much amount that exceeds the limit, on that TDS is applicable. Suppose 3.2 crores having all the 3 years filed, 3.2 crores cash withdrawal, up to 3 crores no TDS, over and above 3 crores, the 20 lakhs on the 2% will be charged. And this is per bank. If they have multiple banks, they can withdraw as many banks into 3 crores. Ideas. Cash withdrawals. ಲೀಗಲ್ ಐಡಿಯಾಸ್ ಇದಕ್ಕೆ ಯಾರು ನಮ್ಮ ಒಳಗಡೆ ಹಾಕಾಗಿಲ್ಲ. ಇನ್ಕಮ್ ಟ್ಯಾಕ್ಸ್ ಡಿಪಾರ್ಟ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಅವ್ರು ಬಂದು ನೀನು ಏನೇನೋ ಹೇಳ್ಕೊಡ್ತೀವಿ ಅಂತ ಅವ್ರು ಒಂದು ಪ್ಯಾನ್ಗೆ ಅಂತ ಮಾಡ್ಬೋದಾಗಿತ್ತು. ಮಾಡಿಲ್ಲ, ಈ ಥರ ಐಡಿಯಾ ಎಲ್ಲ ನಾವು ಇನ್ಕಮ್ ಟ್ಯಾಕ್ಸ್ ಡಿಪಾರ್ಟ್ಮೆಂಟಲ್ಲಿ ತಗೊಳ್ಳಲ್ಲ. ತಂದ್ಬಿಡ್ತಾರ. ನಿರ್ಮಲಾ ಸೀತಾರಾಮನ್ಗೆ ನಾವು ಹೇಳ್ಬೋದು ಇನ್ಕಮ್ ಟ್ಯಾಕ್ಸ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಏನ್ ತಲೆ 5 ತಲೆ ಇರೋದು ಇನ್ಕಮ್ ಟ್ಯಾಕ್ಸ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ. ಆದ್ರೆ ನಿರ್ಮಲಾ ಸೀತಾರಾಮನ್ಗೆ ಎಷ್ಟು ತಲೆ ಇದೆ ಗೊತ್ತಾ ನಿಮ್ಗೆ? ರಾವಣನ್ಗೆ ಎಷ್ಟು ತಲೆ ಇದೆ ಹೇಳಿ? 10. ಆದ್ರೆ ನಿರ್ಮಲಾ ಸೀತಾರಾಮನ್ ಹೇಳ್ತೀನಿ ಕೇಳಿ. ಇವಾಗ ರಾವಣನ ದಶಶಿರವದೇ, ನಿರ್ಮಲಾ ಸೀತಾರಾಮನ್ ಶತಶಿರರು, 1000 ಹಾಸ್ಯಗಳನ್ನು ತನ್ನೊಳಗೆ ಅಡಗಿಸಿದರು. ಹಾವಾಗಿ ಹುಲಿಯಾಗಿ ಕಪ್ಪೆ ಹುಲ್ಲೆಯುಮ್ಮಾಗಿ ಭೂವ್ಯೋಮ ಕತಿಶಯರು ಮಂಕುತಿಮ್ಮ ಅಂತ ಎಲ್ಲ ಕಡೆ ಅವರು ತಲೆಗಳನ್ನ ಕಿವಿಗಳನ್ನ ಎಲ್ಲ ಇಟ್ಕೊಂಡು ಒಂದೊಂದ್ಸತಿ ಹಾವಾಗಿರ್ತಾರೆ, ಬುಸ್ ಬಿಡ್ತಾರೆ, ಒಂದೊಂದ್ಸತಿ ಹುಲಿಯಾಗಿ ವ್ಯಾಘ್ರವಾಗಿ ಗುಟ್ರ ಹಾಕ್ತಾರೆ, ಒಂದೊಂದ್ಸತಿ ಶಾಂತಿಯಿಂದ ಮೊನ್ನೆ 12 ಲಕ್ಷ ರೂಪಾಯಿ ಏನು ಅಸೆಸಿ ಕೊಟ್ಟಲ್ಲ ಶಾಂತವಾಗಿ ಸಾಕ್ಷಾತ್ ಶ್ರೀಲಕ್ಷ್ಮಿ ಸರಸ್ವತಿ ಅಂದ್ಕೊಂಡೇ ಇರೋ ಥರ ಇರ್ತಾರೆ. ಒಂದೊಂದ್ಸತಿ ಕಪ್ಪೆ ಥರ ನೋಡೋಣ ಆಯ್ತು ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಈ ಥರ ಆಗ್ತಾ ಇರ್ತಾರೆ. ಸೊ ಹಾಗೆ ಅವರು ಈ ಭೂ ವ್ಯೋಮಕ್ಕೆ ಅತಿಶಯರು ಮಂಕುತಿಮ್ಮ ಅಂತ DVG ಅವ್ರು ಹೇಳೋದನ್ನು ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಟ್ವಿಸ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದೀನಿ, ಕ್ಷಮೆ ಇರಲಿ ಅವ್ರಿಗೆ. ಆದರೆ ಸಂದರ್ಭಕ್ಕೆ ಉಚಿತವಾಗಿ ಹೇಳಿದ್ದೀನಿ ಅದೇ. ಸೊ 80C ವಿಚಾರವಾಗಿ ನಾವು ವಿ ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಟು ಎನ್ಶೋರ್ ದಟ್ ದೇ ಫೈಲ್ ದೇರ್ ಇನ್ಕಮ್ ಟ್ಯಾಕ್ಸ್ ರಿಟರ್ನ್ಸ್ ಆನ್ ಟೈಮ್. ಇಫ್ ಅಟ್ ಆಲ್ ಇಫ್ ಇಟ್ ಇಸ್ ನಾಟ್ ಹ್ಯಾಪನ್ಡ್, ಇಮಿಡಿಯೇಟ್ಲಿ ವಿತಿನ್ 3 years ಇವಾಗ ನಾವು ಕಂಡೋನೇಷನ್ ಆಫ್ ಡಿಲೇ ಅಪ್ಲೈ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು ಅಂತ ಬೇರೆ ಸರ್ಕ್ಯುಲರ್ ಬಂದಿದೆ. 119(2)B ನಲ್ಲಿ ಕಂಡೋನೇಷನ್ ಆಫ್ ಡಿಲೇ ಕೊಟ್ಟು ನಾವು ಸರಿಯಾದಂತಹ ಸಜೆಷನ್, ಸರಿಯಾದಂತಹ ಕಾರಣಗಳು ಕೊಟ್ಟರೆ ಮಾತ್ರ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ದ ಮೋಸ್ಟ್ ಫ್ರೀಕ್ವೆಂಟ್ ರೀಸನ್ ದಟ್ ದೇ ಗಿವ್ ಫಾರ್ ಡಿಲೇ ಇಸ್ ಡಿಲೇಡ್ ಬೈ ಸ್ಟ್ಯಾಚ್ಯುಟರಿ ಆಡಿಟರ್, which we can't accept. Although that is very safe for them. Then what we have to say? Books of accounts were not provided on time. ಹೌದಾ? ಬ್ಯಾಲೆನ್ಸ್ ಶೀಟ್ ಯಾರು ಮಾಡೋದು? ಸೊಸೈಟಿನೇ ಮಾಡೋದು. ಹೌದಾ? ಸುಮ್ಮನೆ ನಾನು ಬೇರೆ ಥರ ಮಾಡ್ಬಿಡಿ. ನಿಜವಾಗ್ಲೂ ಸೊಸೈಟಿನೇ ಫೈನಾನ್ಷಿಯಲ್ ಸ್ಟೇಟ್ಮೆಂಟ್ಸ್ ಮಾಡೋದು. ಅವ್ರು ಕೊಟ್ಟಿದ್ದು ನಮಗೆ ಲೇಟು, ಆಡಿಟ್ ಲೇಟ್ ಆಯಿತು. ಸೊ ಮೇ ಬಿ ಒನ್ ಆಫ್ ದಿ ರೀಸನ್ಸ್. ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ಅದರ್ ರೀಸನ್ಸ್ ಸಾಮಾನ್ಯವಾದಂತಹ ರೀಸನ್ನು ನಮ್ಮ ಅಕೌಂಟೆಂಟ್ಗೆ ಹುಷಾರಿರಲಿಲ್ಲ, ಅದಾಗಲಿಲ್ಲ ಇದಾಗಲಿಲ್ಲ ಅಂತಂದರೆ ದ ಥಿಂಗ್ಸ್ ವಿಲ್ ನೆವರ್ ಬಿ ಕನ್ಸಿಡರ್ಡ್ ಆ್ಯಸ್ ಕಂಡೋನೇಷನ್ಗೆ ಅದನ್ನು ಅಕ್ಸೆಪ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಳ್ಳುವಂಥ ಚಾನ್ಸಸ್ ಭಾಳ ಕಮ್ಮಿ ಇರುತ್ತೆ. ಯು ಕ್ಯಾನ್ ಆಲ್ಸೋ ರೆಫರ್ ಸರ್ಕ್ಯುಲರ್ ನಂಬರ್ 13/23 ಫಾರ್ ಬೆಟರ್ ಅಂಡರ್ಸ್ಟ್ಯಾಂಡಿಂಗ್. ಇಂಟ್ರೆಸ್ಟ್ ಇನ್ಕಮ್ ಭಾಳ ಇಂಪಾರ್ಟೆಂಟು. ಇಂಟ್ರೆಸ್ಟ್ ಇನ್ಕಮ್ ಅಂಡರ್ 80P ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ ತಕ್ಷಣ ಕಿವಿಗಳೆಲ್ಲ ಅರಳುತ್ತೆ. ಹೌದಾ? ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ? ಸಿ ಆಫ್ ಲೇಟ್ ಇಟ್ ಈಸ್ ಗೆಟಿಂಗ್ ಮೋರ್ ಆರ್ ಲೆಸ್ ಸೆಟಲ್ಡ್ ಮ್ಯಾಟರ್ ಆಗ್ತಾ ಇದೆ 80P-ನಲ್ಲಿ. 2D-ನಲ್ಲಿ ಕ್ಲೇಮ್ ಮಾಡೋದಕ್ಕಾಗಲ್ಲ. ವಿ ಕೆನಾಟ್ ಕನ್ಸಿಡರ್ ಎ ಸೊಸೈಟಿ ಡೆಪಾಸಿಟಿಂಗ್ ಇನ್ ಕೋಆಪರೇಟಿವ್ ಬ್ಯಾಂಕ್ ಈಸ್ ಎಕ್ಸೆಪ್ಟೆಡ್ ಅಂಡರ್ 80P 2D ಅಂತ ತಗೊಳ್ಳೋದಕ್ಕೆ ಸಾಧ್ಯನೇ ಇಲ್ಲ. ಕೋಆಪರೇಟಿವ್ ಸೊಸೈಟಿ ಇಸ್ ಡಿಫರೆಂಟ್, ಕೋಆಪರೇಟಿವ್ ಬ್ಯಾಂಕ್ ಇಸ್ ಡಿಫರೆಂಟ್ ಅಂತ ವೆರಿ ಕ್ಲಿಯರ್ಲಿ ದಿ ಹೈಕೋರ್ಟ್ ಹ್ಯಾಸ್ ರೂಲ್ಡ್ ಇಟ್, ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ವಿ ಕೆನಾಟ್ ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ದಟ್ ಆರ್ಗ್ಯುಮೆಂಟ್ ಅಗೇನ್ ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ಅಗೇನ್. ಅದು ಚೀಮಾರಿ ಹಾಕಿಸ್ಕೊಂಡು ಬರ್ತೀವಿ ನಾವು ಆ ಥರ ಎಲ್ಲ ಆರ್ಗ್ಯುಮೆಂಟ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ. second stand that is happening from High Court, the Hubli Dharwad bench of High Court, they are considering it as other source of income, interest from deposits. ಏನಿದೆ, 2 stands can be taken. One, it is income from business, one, it is income from other sources. According to me and the stand that I am taking for all my clients for whom I am doing tax audit, other sources. Bala safe and very easy to argue and get the most required tax liability for us, 0. Or minimum, or I will rather say minimum. Hege, in other sources, we consider under section 56 as other source income from other sources, whether it is from a cooperative society or nationalized bank or from a private bank, ellaru irli, if the interest is calculated in the other sources, related section 57 deduction also they should give. Cost of funds also they have to give. So cost of funds will be obviously more than the nationalized banks or other cooperative banks is giving for us. Yakandre we are paying higher interest rate to our members. So statutorily we are obligated to keep the reserve fund 20%. Reserve fund we are statutorily required to hold it as a deposit from the business proceeds that we receive, from the deposits that we accept. Adhe ದುಡ್ಡಿನಲ್ಲಿ ಇರೋದ್ರಿಂದ you can argue that as a business, but ITAT is not simply accepting it. ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಎಲ್ಲ ಕೇಸಲ್ಲೂ ತಕರಾರು ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ ಅವರು. ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಸ್ಪೆಷಲ್ ಬೆಂಚ್ ಕೊಡ್ತೀನಿ, ಸ್ಪೆಷಲ್ ಬೆಂಚ್ ಡಿಸೈಡ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಅಂತೆಲ್ಲ ಆಮೇಲೆ ಅಟ್ ದಿ ವೆರಿ ಅಸೆಸಿಂಗ್ ಆಫೀಸರ್ ಲೆವೆಲ್ ಯು ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಟು ಗಿವ್ ಆಲ್ ದೀಸ್ ಆರ್ಗ್ಯುಮೆಂಟ್ಸ್ ಫಸ್ಟ್. ಅಟ್ ದಿ ವೆರಿ ಅಸೆಸಿಂಗ್ ಆಫೀಸರ್ ಲೆವೆಲ್ ನೀವು ಇದೆಲ್ಲ ಡೀಟೇಲ್ಸ್ ಕೊಟ್ಟು ಬೈಫರ್ಕೇಟ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು. ಕಾಸ್ಟ್ ಆಫ್ ಫಂಡ್ಸ್ ಕ್ಯಾಲ್ಕುಲೇಷನ್ಗೆ ಐ ವಿಲ್ ಶೋ ಯು, ಕಾಂಟ್ ಶೋ ಯು ಬಟ್ ಐ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪ್ಲೈನ್. ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ ಅರ್ಥ ಆಗತ್ತಲ್ವ ನಿಮಗೆ, ತೋರಿಸೋದಕ್ಕಿಂತ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊತೀನಿ, ನೀವು ರೈಟ್ ಇಟ್ ಡೌನ್. So cost of funds claiming under section 57 for the income that we have offered under section 56 is the best possible accepted way across the courts. Solution adu ಏನು, see, the deposits that we have kept in nationalized banks are yielding us about 6 to 7% maximum. But for our deposit to our members, we are paying definitely more than 7%. So average deposits that we have accepted and the average interest that we have paid to the interest paid and the average deposits that we have accepted during the year will give us percentage cost of funds. That is set aside one side. And administrative cost to the extent of percentage interest income from overall income. Interest from deposits divided by overall income will give us what is a percentage revenue that interest is contributing to our total revenue. Administrative cost ಅಲ್ಲಿ percentage ಅಂತ ತಗೊಂಡ್ರೆ will give us the cost of administrative expenses. So administrative expenses portion plus cost of funds put together will always be in 99.99999999 cases will be more than the interest earned from the cooperative, from the nationalized bank or cooperative banks. This argument income tax authorities may not accept, but court have to accept it. So first time assessing officer and first appeal I cannot guarantee, but ITAT full accept ಮಾಡ್ತಿದೆ. All 100 cases ಹೋದ್ರೆ 100 cases ಇದನ್ನ accept ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದೆ, because this is told by our jurisdictional high court. ಈ ಥರ ಮಾಡಿ ಅಂತ. So it is very much possible. You may do it. Any question on this, in this regard also I will take it.
High Court can give citation.
ನಾನು ಕಳಿಸ್ಕೊಡ್ತೀನಿ ಮೇಡಮ್, ಇವಾಗ ರೆಡಿ ಇಲ್ಲ ನನ್ನ ಹತ್ರ. ಐ ವಿಲ್ ಸೆಂಡ್ ಇಟ್ ಯು. ಇಟ್ ಇಸ್ ಹುಬ್ಳಿ ಬೆಂಚ್ ಆಫ್ ಕರ್ನಾಟಕ ಹೈಕೋರ್ಟ್. ನೀವು ಗೂಗಲ್ ಹಾಕಿದ್ರೆ ಟಕ್ಕನ್ ಸಿಕ್ಬಿಡುತ್ತೆ, ನಾನು ಮರ್ತೋಗ್ಬಿಟ್ಟಿದೆ.
Can this be a new ground in tribunal?
Madam, it is not new ground. For tribunal it is old ground. They will definitely accept it. We number of cases we have won. Sir, bada simple. Income from deposits, other source of income. Income from members under business or profession. ಕೇಳಿಸ್ತಿಲ್ಲ? ಹೌದು, ಇದನ್ನ ಕ್ಯಾಲ್ಕುಲೇಷನ್ ಯು ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಟು ಡೂ ದ ಕ್ಯಾಲ್ಕುಲೇಷನ್ and while uploading it in 3CD you upload this calculation also as an attachment. Calculation is while filing the returns you will mention anyway 56 other sources ಅಲ್ಲಿ income mention ಮಾಡ್ತೀರಿ, cost of funds mention ಮಾಡ್ತೀರಿ, business or professional ಮಾಡ್ಕೋತೀರಿ ITR form ಅಲ್ಲಿ. For justifying your calculation you attach it in your financial returns, financial statement as a notes to financial statements. And it is definitely a point of litigation, sir. ಅವಾಗ ನೀವು ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪ್ಲೈನ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬೋದು. AOs are also accepting nowadays. ಒಳ್ಳೆ AOಗಳಾಗಿದ್ರೆ ಅವರು ಅಕ್ಸೆಪ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ. ಗಲಾಟೆ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು ಅಂತಿರೋ ಏನು ಮಾಡಿದ್ರು ಅಕ್ಸೆಪ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡಲ್ಲ. ಅದು ನಾವು ತಲೆನೇ ಕೆಡಿಸ್ಕೊಳ್ಳೋದು ಅವ್ರ ಹತ್ರ. ಸರ್ ಕೇಳಿಸ್ಲಿಲ್ಲ? ಇಲ್ಲ, ಇಟ್ ಈಸ್ considered not from a business income ಅಂತ ನಾವು ತಗೊಳ್ಳಲ್ಲ ಅದನ್ನ, ಬಟ್ ಇಟ್ ಇಸ್ ಕೋಆಪರೇಟಿವ್ ಇನ್ಕಮ್. ಅಂಡರ್ ATP we are not claiming it. ತಪ್ಪಾಗತ್ತೆ, ಆಗ ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ, ಜಗಳ ಆಡಬೇಕಾಗತ್ತೆ ಡಿಪಾರ್ಟ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಜೊತೆಗೆ. ಇಫ್ ಯು ಅಕ್ಸೆಪ್ಟ್ ವಾಟ್ ದೇ ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಟೋಲ್ಡ್, ಫಾರ್ ಅಸ್ ಟ್ಯಾಕ್ಸ್ ಶುಡ್ ಬಿ ಮಿನಿಮಮ್ and in a legal way, so it can be done. Some societies are even my client, some societies are not accepting for my claim. I tell them it is your fate. ಅದೇ ATP ನಲ್ಲಿ ಹಾಕೋತಾರೆ ಸರ್, ಅದು ಡಿಫರೆನ್ಸ್ ಆಫ್ ಒಪಿನಿಯನ್. ದೆನ್ ಯು ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಟು ಟೆಲ್ ದೆಮ್ ಇನ್ ಎ ಸಪರೇಟ್, ನಿಮ್ಮ ಲೆಟರ್ ಹೆಡಲ್ಲಿ ಒಂದು ಒಪಿನಿಯನ್ ಕೊಡಿ, ದಿಸ್ ಇಸ್ ದಿ ಅಕ್ಸೆಪ್ಟೆಡ್ ವೇ ಇನ್ ಇನ್ಕಮ್ ಟ್ಯಾಕ್ಸ್. ಇನ್ ATP ಡೆಫಿನೆಟ್ಲಿ ಇಟ್ ಇಸ್ ನಾಟ್ ಅಲೋಡ್ ಸರ್. ಯಾಕೆ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ ನಮ್ಮ ಜೂರಿಸ್ಡಿಕ್ಷನಲ್ ಹೈಕೋರ್ಟ್ ಅದರ ವಿರೋಧವಾಗಿದೆ. ITAT will not take a chance for going against jurisdictional high court. ಯಾಕೆ ಇಲ್ಲ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ ಇಷ್ಟೊತ್ತಿಗೆ ಆಗ್ಬಿಡೋದು. ದೋ ಇನ್ ಸ್ಪಿರಿಟ್ ದೇ ಆರ್ ಅಕ್ಸೆಪ್ಟಿಂಗ್ ಇಟ್ nowadays, in spirit ITAT is accepting it, but in past the same members of ITAT have disallowed it. ಸೊ ಅವ್ರ ಓನ್ ತಪ್ಪುಗಳನ್ನ ನಾವು ಸರಿ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಳ್ತಾ ಇಲ್ಲ, ಮಾಡ್ಕೋಬಹುದಾದಂಥ ಚಾನ್ಸಸ್ ಇದೆ ಅವ್ರಿಗೆ. ಅವಾಗ ಎಲ್ಲಾನು ರಿವೈಸ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಅಂತಾರೆ, ಅವರು ರಿವ್ಯೂ ಮಾಡಿ ಅಂತಾರೆ, ಆರ್ಡರ್ನ ರಿವ್ಯೂ ಮಾಡಿ ಅಂತಾರೆ. ಸೊ ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ದೇ ಡೋಂಟ್ ಟೇಕ್ ಚಾನ್ಸ್. ಇಲ್ಲ ಸರ್, ATP ನಲ್ಲಿ ಅದರ್ ದನ್ ಇಂಟ್ರೆಸ್ಟ್ ಅಲೋ ಇಲ್ಲ ಸರ್. ಆ್ಯಕ್ಚುಲಿ ಆಗಲಿ ಬಿಡಿ, ಸ್ಕ್ರೂಟಿನಿನಲ್ಲಿ ಅಕ್ಸೆಪ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಿದ್ದಾರೆ ಅಂತಲೇ ನಾನು ನಿಮ್ಗೆ ಹೇಳ್ತಿರೋದು. ATP ನಲ್ಲೂ ಎಷ್ಟು ಸ್ಕ್ರೂಟಿನಿ ಸೆಲೆಕ್ಟ್ ಆಗಿದೆ ಹೇಳಿ ಸರ್? ನಮ್ಮ ಹತ್ರ 100 ಕೇಸಸ್ ಇದೆ ಸರ್. ಅಲ್ಲ, ನಿಮಿಷ ಸಿ, ನಾನು ಹೇಳ್ಬಿಡ್ತೀನಿ ಕೇಳಿ. ನೂರಾರು ಮತವಿಹುದು ಲೋಕದುಗ್ರಾಣದಲ್ಲಿ, ಆರಿಸಿಕೊ ನಿನ್ನ ರುಚಿಗೊಪ್ಪುವುದನದರೊಳ್, ಸಾರದಡುಗೆಯ ನೊಡ ವಿಚಾರ ಬಲೆಯಲ್ಲಿ ಮಾಡು, ಬೇರೆ ಮತ ಮಂಕುತಿಮ್ಮ ಅಂತ DVG ಹೇಳಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ನೂರಾರು ಮತವಿಹುದು, ಎಸ್ಪೆಷಲಿ ಇನ್ ದಿಸ್ ವೆರಿ ಲರ್ನೆಡ್ ಕ್ರೌಡ್ ದಟ್ ವಿ ಹ್ಯಾವ್, more than 100 chartered accountants. Each one of us may have different opinions. Okay, here I am propounding out of my experience, what is my opinion. You may definitely have a difference of opinion. In fact, I am happy that I am getting lot of difference of various forms of opinions. Okay, but we have to put our own opinion in our legal terminologies way and see whether it is legal and acceptable by law. And the opinion that I now told is acceptable and already the result has been already yielded. So it is up to the society and the auditor to decide whether to show it under ATP or take it under other sources and claim 57. So it is all the risk appetite. I differ sir, I differ, because it is not allowed. ಈಗ ನೋಡಿ, ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಆರ್ಗ್ಯುಮೆಂಟ್ ಅದನ್ನೇ ಇಟ್ಟೆ ನಾನು. ಅದೇ ಅದನ್ನ ATP 2D ನಲ್ಲಿ ತಗೋತಿದ್ದಾರೆ ಅವರು. ಈ ಮಾತನ್ನ ಏನು ಹೇಳ್ತಿರಲ್ಲ, this argument is based on ATP 2D, where ATP 2D says if a cooperative society keeps deposit in another cooperative society, then the interest is exempt ಅಂತ ಹೇಳುತ್ತೆ. But income tax authorities are very much saying, and even court is very much saying, cooperative bank is different from cooperative societies. ಆ ಸ್ಟ್ಯಾಂಡಿಂದ ಅವರು ATP 2D ನಲ್ಲಿ ಕೊಡ್ತಾ ಇಲ್ಲ. ಈ ಸ್ಟ್ಯಾಂಡ್ ಅವ್ರು ಅಕ್ಸೆಪ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಂಡ್ಬಿಟ್ರೆ ನೀವು ಹೇಳಿದ್ ಕರೆಕ್ಟ್.
Can't we take under that word incidental?
ತಗೋಬಹುದು ಮೇಡಮ್, ಅವ್ರು ಅಕ್ಸೆಪ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬೇಕಷ್ಟೇ.
They are not agreeing.
ಡೆಫಿನೆಟ್ ಆಗಿ ತಗೋಬಹುದು. ನಾನುವೇ ಐ ಸ್ಟಿಲ್ ಫೀಲ್, ಈವನ್ ನೌ ಐ ಫೀಲ್ interest from deposits, whether from nationalized banks or cooperative banks, is very much a business income. Is very much a business income. ನಾನು ಅದು ವಿರೋಧವಾಗಿ ಇಲ್ಲವೇ ಇಲ್ಲ, ಪ್ರಾಕ್ಟಿಕಲ್ ಆಗಿ ಏನು ಆಗ್ತಿದೆ ಅಂತ ಅಷ್ಟೇ ನಾನು ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀನಿ.
Because the officer is saying, the JC, commissioner of it, is saying whatever interest is there, you distribute among your members. That is what they are writing in the order.
ಆ ಥರ ಮಾಡೋದಕ್ಕಾಗಲ್ಲ.
That's what.
At the closing of society, that's what we do. When we close the society, that's what we do. But you can't insist us to close the society whenever you want. You means department. ಹೌದಾ ಇಲ್ಲ, ನಾವು ಯಾವಾಗ ಕ್ಲೋಸ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು ಏನು ಕತೆ ಅನ್ನೋದನ್ನ ಅವ್ರು ಡಿಸೈಡ್ ಮಾಡೋದಕ್ಕಾಗಲ್ಲ. ದಟ್ಸ್ ವಾಟ್ ಇನ್ ಒನ್ ಆಫ್ ದಿ ಅದರ್ ದನ್ ಸೊಸೈಟಿ ಕೇಸಸ್ ದಿ ಅಸೆಸಿಂಗ್ ಆಫೀಸರ್ ಸೆಡ್, ನೀವು ಇಷ್ಟು ಕಮ್ಮಿ ಕೊಟ್ಟಿದ್ಯಾ, ನನ್ನ ಪ್ರಾಡಕ್ಟು ನನ್ನ ಬಿಸ್ನೆಸ್, ಅಟ್ ವಾಟ್ ರೇಟ್ ಐ ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಟು ಸೆಲ್ ಐ ಡಿಸೈಡ್. ಈಸ್ ಹಿ ಎ ರಿಲೇಟೆಡ್ ಪಾರ್ಟಿ where price is not the sole consideration? Then you come into question. Where price is the sole consideration, I decide what is my price. Department cannot question that. Alva, if it is a TP, then yes, ಅವರಪ್ಪ ನೀನು ಆರ್ಮ್ಸ್ ಲೆಂತ್ ಪ್ರೈಸ್ ಕಂಡಿಡಿ. ನಂದು ಅಂಗಡಿ ಯಾರೋ ದಾಸಯ್ಯ ಬರ್ತಾನೆ, ಅವನು ನಾನು ₹2 ಕೊಡ್ತೀನಿ, 50,000 ರೂಪಾಯಿ ಮೆಟೀರಿಯಲ್ನ, ನನ್ನ ಇಷ್ಟ, ಅದು ನನ್ನ ಬಿಸ್ನೆಸ್ಸು, ನನ್ನ ಮೆಟೀರಿಯಲ್ಲು. ಆ ದಾಸಯ್ಯ ನಮ್ಮಪ್ಪ ಆಗಿದ್ರೆ ರಿಲೇಟೆಡ್ ಪಾರ್ಟಿ, ದೆನ್ arm's length price comes into question. Otherwise, department cannot question that. Is my opinion.
Matching purchase versus sales.
Sir, again, this matching concept, they have to prove why I have given. Relation is there. I can give differential prices for differential people, no? Businessman has that authority. Income tax department cannot question that. And I want this in this argument. ಏವೋ ಒಪ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿಲ್ಲ, ಏವೋ ಒಪ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಲ್ಲ. ಈ ಥರ ನಾವು ಒಂದ್ಸತಿ ಈ ಥರ ಮಾತಾಡ್ಬಿಟ್ರೆ ನೀನ್ ಯಾರು ಹೇಳಕ್ಕೆ ಅಂತ ಮುಗಿದ ಕೇಸಲ್ಲಿ ಒಂದ್ಸತಿ ಈ ಥರ ಹೇಳ್ಬಿಟ್ರೆ ಭಾಳ ಹುಷಾರಾಗಿ, ನಂಗೆ ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಇರಿಟೇಟ್ ಆಗ್ತಿರುತ್ತೆ. ಏವೋ ಹತ್ರ ಕೂತ್ಕೊಂಡಾಗ ಹಿಂಗೇ ಕೂತಿರ್ತೀನಿ. ಆಯ್ತು ಹೇಳು, ಕ್ಲೈಂಟ್ಗೋಸ್ಕರ ಬಂದಿದ್ದೀನಿ ನಾನು ಹೇಳಿ, ನನ್ನ ಈಗೋ ತೋರಿಸ್ಬಿಟ್ರೆ ನಿಮಗೆ ಕ್ಲೈಂಟ್ ವಿಲ್ ಬಿ ಸಫರ್ಡ್. ಸುಮ್ಮನೆ ಹಿಂಗಿರ್ತೀನಿ, ತುಂಬ ಕೆಳಗೆ ಕೊಟ್ರೆ ಈಗ ಹೇಳ್ಬಿಟ್ಟು ಟೆಲ್ ದ ಕ್ಲೈಂಟ್, ಹಿಂಗೆ ಹಾಕಪ್ಪ ಅಪೀಲು, ವಿ ವಿಲ್ ವಿನ್ ದ ಕೇಸ್ ಇನ್ ಅಪೀಲ್, ಡೋಂಟ್ ವರಿ ಅಂತ, ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ವಿ ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ವನ್ ದಟ್ ಕೇಸ್. ಅದು ಈಗೋ ಕ್ವಶನ್ಸ್ ಅವೆಲ್ಲ. ಅವಾಗ ನಾವು ಫೀಸು ಚಾರ್ಜ್ ಮಾಡಿಲ್ಲ ಆ ಕೇಸಿನ, because I took the case on my ego to the ITAT. So ego, then I said I will not charge you the fees because an ego satisfaction is the best fee for me. Next, 269 SS and 269 ST is again a big question. Whenever I speak to societies on these matters, they come to fight with me. 20,000 ರೂಪಾಯಿಗಿಂತ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ನಾವೆಲ್ಲರಿಗೂ ಯಾಕೆ ಕೊಡೋಕ್ಕಾಗಲ್ಲ, ಎಲ್ಲ ಹಳ್ಳಿಯವರು, ಅವರು ಬ್ಯಾಂಕ್ ಅಕೌಂಟ್ ಇರಲ್ಲ, ಅದಕ್ಕೋಸ್ಕರನೇ ನಮ್ಮ ಹತ್ರ ಬರ್ತಾರೆ, ನಾವು ಕೊಡೋಕ್ಕಾಗತ್ತಾ ಆಗಲ್ವಾ? 90% of the societies even today are distributing the cash beyond 20,000 and accepting the cash beyond 20,000 rupees. Only for PAX and P-card banks, a limit of enhanced 2 lakhs is available in 269 SS and 269 ST. But one of our but all these societies are not getting the notices on this. If you have observed, every society, like how they are getting ATP notices. The ATP notices are very widely issued, but notices we rarely find under 269 violation of 269 SS and ST. ಯಾತಕ್ಕೆ ಅಂತ ನಾವು ಅವಲೋಕನ ಮಾಡಿದಾಗ the chapter heading comes into question. What is the heading of the chapter under which 269 SS and ST is there? Chapter 20B. 20B ನಲ್ಲಿ says requirement as to mode of acceptance, payment or repayment in certain cases to counteract the evasion of tax. The very fundamental of this section coming into force, ಅದರ ಆತ್ಮ, ಈ ಸೆಕ್ಷನಿನ ಆತ್ಮ ಇರೋದು ಈ ಹೆಡ್ಡಿಂಗ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ.
Sorry, sir. Whether you are reporting.
That is a question. That is a very important question. Did society disclose properly? If the society discloses that I have paid in cash and I have received in cash and I have deposited the money and I have given in whatever possible way that I can do, ನನ್ನ ಕಣ್ಣಿನ ಪರಿಧಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ಏನೇನಾಯ್ತು ಅವನ್ನೆಲ್ಲದನ್ನು I have reported ಅಂತ the society can prove, then 269 SS and 269 ST violation can be done away with. If we are unable to prove from whom we received, why did we receive, source of funds, ಇದಿಷ್ಟು ನಾವು ಪ್ರೂವ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು. PAN of the member, how much he deposited, when he withdrew, and if he has deposited it, what is the source. ಇದಿಷ್ಟನ್ನು ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ in one of our cases they have accepted. AO himself have accepted it.
ಎರಡು ವಿಷಯ. ಒಂದು, ನೀವು ಟ್ಯಾಕ್ಸ್ ಆಡಿಟ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಹೆಂಗ್ ರಿಪೋರ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀರಾ. ಇನ್ನೊಂದು ಏನ್ ಹೇಳ್ತಾರೆ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಸೊಸೈಟಿಗಳು ವಿ ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಓಪನ್ ದ SB ಅಕೌಂಟ್, ವಿ ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಟೇಕಿಂಗ್ ದಟ್ ಕ್ರೆಡಿಟ್ಸ್ ಟು SB and then transferring to loan. Same while dispersing also we are crediting.
Sir, then it is not violation of 269 SS ST at all. It's a beautiful way of doing it. SB account open ಮಾಡಿ, you are a member and I am a society. My understanding ಸರಿ ಏನೋ ಇಲ್ವೋ ನಿಮ್ಗೆ ಹೇಳಿ. I am a society, I have an account in SBI. I give a loan to you. While giving the loan, I transfer this funds to SB account of mine. I will ask you to withdraw. One way. Second, I will give credit to your SB account.
ಆ ಥರ ಆಗ್ತಿಲ್ಲ ಇಲ್ಲಿ. Society is opening a savings bank, protecting the society itself.
ಅದು it is not a savings bank account.
That's right.
It is a member savings account.
Anything. They are doing like that. ಅವಾಗ ಯಾವ ಥರ ನೀವು ರಿಪೋರ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀರಾ ಟ್ಯಾಕ್ಸ್ ಆಡಿಟ್?
ನಾನು ಅದನ್ನ violation of 269 SS and ST ಅಂತ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇಲ್ಲ. If they disclose properly in the cash book that they have deposit from loan account to member savings account, from member savings account it is appropriated or repaid to FD ಅಥವಾ loan account ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ, then it is not a violation of 269 SS and ST. I am not reporting a violation at all in ECD. ಅಂತ violation ಅಂತ ಹಾಕಿದ ತಕ್ಷಣ ನಿಮ್ಮ ಆಡಿಟ್ರೇ ಹೇಳ್ತಿದ್ದಾರೆ ಅಂತ ಬಂದ್ಬಿಡುತ್ತೆ.
ಹೌದು.
ಇನ್ಕಮ್
ನೀವೇ
ಒಪ್ಕೊಂಡ್ಬಿಟ್ಟಿದ್ದೀರಾ, ಇನ್ನು ನಾವೇನು ಬೇರೆ ಹೇಳೋದಕ್ಕೆ ಆಗಲ್ಲ ಅಂತ. ಸೊ ಬೆಸ್ಟ್ ಪ್ರಾಕ್ಟೀಸಸ್ ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ಕಂಪ್ಲೇಂಟ್ಸ್, ಇಷ್ಟೊತ್ತು ನಾನ್ ಕಂಪ್ಲೇಂಟ್ಸ್ ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ರೆಮಿಡೀಸ್ ನೋಡಿದ್ವಿ. ಬೆಸ್ಟ್ ಪ್ರಾಕ್ಟೀಸಸ್ ಯು ಆಲ್ ನೋ. ನಾನು ಅದನ್ನು ಮತ್ತೆ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ ಅದು ಒಂಥರ ವಿಡಂಬನೆ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ಟೈಮ್ಲಿ ರಿಟರ್ನ್ಸ್ ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ಫೈಲಿಂಗ್ ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ಪೇಮೆಂಟ್, ರೆಗ್ಯುಲರ್ ರಿಕನ್ಸಿಲಿಯೇಷನ್ ಆಫ್ ಬುಕ್ಸ್ ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ರಿಟರ್ನ್ಸ್, ವೆಂಡರ್ ವೆರಿಫಿಕೇಶನ್ ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ITC ಮ್ಯಾಚಿಂಗ್, ಇಂಟರ್ನಲ್ ಆಡಿಟ್ ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ಕಂಪ್ಲೈನ್ಸ್, ಇದೆಲ್ಲದನ್ನೂ ಕರೆಕ್ಟಾಗಿ ಸೊಸೈಟಿಗಳು ಮಾಡಿ ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ನಮಗೆ ಫೀಸ್ ಕೊಟ್ಟರೆ ಕೆಲಸನೂ ಕರೆಕ್ಟಾಗಿ ಆಗ್ತಾ ಇರುತ್ತೆ. ಎಲ್ಲದಕ್ಕೂ ದಕ್ಷಿಣೆ ಇಂಪಾರ್ಟೆಂಟ್. ದಕ್ಷಿಣೆ ಕರೆಕ್ಟ್ ಆಗಿದ್ರೆ ಕರೆಕ್ಟ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ, ಇಲ್ಲಾಂದ್ರೆ ನಾವು ದಕ್ಷಿಣಾಭಿಮುಖವಾಗಿ ಹೋಗ್ಬೇಕಾಗುತ್ತೆ. ಇಷ್ಟು ಹೇಳಿ ಐ ಆಮ್ ಓಪನಿಂಗ್ ದಿ ಫ್ಲೋರ್ ಫಾರ್
ಫಸ್ಟ್
ಕರೆಕ್ಟ್ 5:59 ಕ್ಲೋಸ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದೀನಿ. 1 ನಿಮಿಷ ಕ್ವಶನ್ ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ಆನ್ಸರ್.
ನಿಮ್ಮ ಮೊಬೈಲ್ ನಂಬರ್
194 MPCS also required to file the
194 A ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಮಾತಾಡಲಿಲ್ಲ ಸರ್, ಕ್ಷಮಿಸಿ. ಮಾತಾಡ್ತೀನಿ.
MPCS also required to file the IT returns.
Marketing.
Milk producer cooperative society.
ಡೆಫಿನೆಟ್ಲಿ ದೇ ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಟು ಫೈಲ್ ದ ರಿಟರ್ನ್ಸ್ ಸರ್. ಎಲ್ಲರೂ ಫೈಲ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು ಸರ್. ದೇ ಗೆಟ್ ATP. ಇವ್ರಿಗೂ ಮಿಲ್ಕ್ ಪ್ರೊಡ್ಯೂಸರ್ಸ್ಗೂ ಸಿಗುತ್ತೆ.
They not file.
ಅದೇ ಮಾಡಲ್ಲ ಸರ್, ನನಗೆ ಗೊತ್ತು, ನಾನು ಹೇಳ್ತಿದ್ದೀನಲ್ಲ, ಮಾಡೋದೇ ಇಲ್ಲ ಸರ್ ಫೈಲಿಂಗ್. ಅವ್ರಿಗೆ ಟ್ಯಾಕ್ಸು ಅಂತಂದರೆ ಅದೇನೋ ಒಂಥರ ಅಸಡ್ಡೆ. ಸೊ 194 A ಬಗ್ಗೆ ನಾನು ಮಾತಾಡಲಿಲ್ಲ. ಸೊ 194 A is a very clear one. You have for PACs 194 years ನಲ್ಲಿ TDS ಏನು ಮಾಡಬೇಕಾಗಿರಲ್ಲ. But for any other societies, whether from a cooperative society or whether from a cooperative bank or nationalized bank, TDS have to be done. 194 A ನಲ್ಲಿ ಕೋಆಪರೇಟಿವ್ ಸೊಸೈಟಿಗಳಿಗೆ ಕೋಆಪರೇಟಿವ್ ಬ್ಯಾಂಕ್ TDS ಮಾಡಬಾರ್ದು ಅಂತ ಎಲ್ಲೂ ಇಲ್ಲ. cooperative society should not do to their members if their turnover is less than 50 crores. So their turnover and whether it is less than 50 crores or not is a very important question. So most of the cooperative societies will be less than 50 crores. What is the calculation for turnover of 50 crores ಅಂತ ನೀವು ಕೇಳಿದ್ರೆ ಸೇಮ್ ಡೆಫಿನಿಷನ್ ಆಸ್ ಇನ್ GST. Credit side of the income tax, income and expenditure account, interest and other than interest put together, if it crosses 50 crores, then 194A is applicable to them. If it does not cross 50 crores, then 194A is not applicable to cooperative societies, to their members. Other than that, you know that limit is changed from 40,000 to 50,000 for non-senior citizens, and senior citizens it is changed from 50,000 to 1 lakh rupees. Rate remains constant at 10%.
So 61-year farm is applicable.
ಒಂದು ನಿಮಿಷ.
Sir, loan interest take care of the accepted
ಹೌದು ಸರ್, ಹೌದು, ಡೆಫಿನೆಟ್ ಆಗಿ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು. ಆದರೆ ದೇರ್ ಇಸ್ ಒನ್ ರಿಪರ್ಕಷನ್. ನೀವು ಅದನ್ನು ಮಾಡೋದ್ರಿಂದ ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ ಇಯರ್ ನೀವು GST ಕಾಂಪೋಸಿಷನ್ ಸ್ಕೀಮ್ ಹೋಗ್ತೀರಿ ಅಂತಂದರೆ ದಟ್ ಮೇ ಬಿ ಹರ್ಡಲ್ ಇಫ್ ದಟ್ ಇಂಟ್ರೆಸ್ಟ್ ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ಅದರ್ ದನ್ ಇಂಟ್ರೆಸ್ಟ್ ಪುಟ್ ಟುಗೆದರ್ ಕ್ರಾಸಸ್ 1.5 crores. ಬಟ್ ಇವಾಗ ಮೋಸ್ಟ್ಲಿ ಅದನ್ನು ಕರೆಕ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ನಾನು ಒಂದ್ಸತಿ ಬೇಕಾದ್ರೆ ಚೆಕ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಹೇಳ್ತೀನಿ. ಆಫ್ ಲೇಟ್ ಐ ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ನಾಟ್ ಕಮ್ ಅಕ್ರಾಸ್ ಸಚ್ ಪ್ರಾಬ್ಲಮ್ಸ್. ದಟ್ ಮೀನ್ಸ್ ಇಟ್ ಇಸ್ ರೆಕ್ಟಿಫೈಡ್. ಬಟ್ ಯು ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಟು ಡಿಸ್ಕ್ಲೋಸ್.
TDS and profession and rent all those things. Profession.
TDS profession is increased from 30 to 50.
Same.
Rent is increased from 240 to 6 lakhs. Avella I did not touch because all those things are very.
For that there is no 50 crores grant.
ಇಲ್ಲ 194A ಮಾತ್ರ 50 crores. ಅದು ಬಿಟ್ಟು ಯಾತಕ್ಕೂ ಇರೋದಿಲ್ಲ.
Sir,
ಆಮೇಲೆ ಯು ಮೇ ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಟು ಬಿ ವೆರಿ ಕೇರ್ಫುಲ್. ಒನ್ಸ್ ಅಗೇನ್ ಒನ್ ಮೋರ್ ಪ್ರಾಬ್ಲಮ್ ಇನ್ RCM I forgot to mention in between. Director sitting fee paid to the directors of cooperative society, RCM is not applicable. Because in RCM's notification 13/2017 clearly says director of a body corporate and society is not a body corporate. Body corporate definition again they borrow from Companies Act 2013. In Companies Act 2013 body corporate definition is the cooperative societies na bada expressly they take it out. Very expressly they take it out. So sitting fee of the director of a cooperative society, RCM is not applicable even for a cooperative bank. We were auditors for a district cooperative bank, DCC Bank. DCC Bank this question was raised and we were very confident in saying director sitting fee even if it is a district cooperative bank, RCM is not applicable on director sitting fee. ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ ಅವ್ರ ಕರ್ಮ. ಇಷ್ಟು ನಾವು ಹೇಳಿದ್ರು ಸೊಸೈಟಿ ಇಫ್ ದೇ ಡೂ and it is up to them. We will not worry about it.
sir, primary agricultural cooperative society 61-year farm applicable ಆಗುತ್ತೆ income tax reporting form.
SFT ಫಾರ್ಮ್ ಅಪ್ಲೈ ಆಗಲ್ಲ ಸರ್, ಆಗಲ್ಲ.
Only for banks.
ಓನ್ಲಿ ಫಾರ್ ಕೋಆಪರೇಟಿವ್ ಬ್ಯಾಂಕ್ಸ್. ನಾನು ನಿನ್ನೆನೂ ನೋಡಿದೆ. ಈವನ್ ಎಸ್ಟರ್ಡೇ ಬಿಫೋರ್ ಕಮಿಂಗ್ ಇಯರ್ ಐ ವೆಂಟ್ ಥ್ರೂ 114E ನೋಡ್ಬೇಕು ನೀವು. ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ರೂಲ್ 114E ಯಾವ್ಯಾವುದಕ್ಕೆ SFT ಅಪ್ಲೈ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ, ಯಾವ್ಯಾವುದಕ್ಕೆ ಅಪ್ಲೈ ಆಗಲ್ಲ ಅಂತ. ಐ ಡಿಡ್ ನಾಟ್ ಫೈಂಡ್ ದ ನೇಮ್ ಕೋಆಪರೇಟಿವ್ ಸೊಸೈಟಿ ಎನಿವೇರ್, ಬಟ್ ಐ ಸಾ ಕೋಆಪರೇಟಿವ್ ಬ್ಯಾಂಕ್ ಎನಿವೇರ್. But of course, ಒಂದು ಭಾಳ ಇಂಪಾರ್ಟೆಂಟ್ ಪಾಯಿಂಟ್ ಟು ಬಿ ಕನ್ಸಿಡರ್ಡ್ ಹಿಯರ್ in SFT form, I will tell you, if they accept more than 2 lakh rupees in cash, if they accept more than 2 lakh rupees in cash, they say the last line of the 114 rule, in the table of the last line item, they say anything received or paid in cash for more than 2 lakh rupees, a person who is required to get his books of accounts audited under 44AB has to disclose. So to that extent, any entity, whether cooperative society or not, if they are at 44AB and if they have accepted more than 2 crore rupees in cash, then they have to disclose. Very important, very good point. Thank you very much for asking that question.
then it is automatically if they receive more than 2 lakhs, then it is applicable to them. Sir.
ಎಸ್ ಯಾರು ಒಬ್ಬರ ಹತ್ರ ಇಸ್ಕೊಂಡ್ರು
ಒಬ್ಬರ ಹತ್ರ ಇಸ್ಕೊಂಡು
61 years to that extent they have to file. Violation of 286, section 285. ಸರ್ ನಾನು ಹೇಳಿದಾಗೆ ಇದು ಇನ್ಕಮ್ ಟ್ಯಾಕ್ಸ್ GST 1.5 ಗಂಟೆ ಸಾಲಲ್ಲ ಸರ್.
ಖಂಡಿತ ಸಾಲಲ್ಲ ನಿಮ್ಮಂಥವ್ರಿಗೆ.
3 hours ಸಾಲಲ್ಲ ಸರ್, 6 hours ಬೇಕು. ಬೆಳಿಗ್ಗೆಯಿಂದ ಸಂಜೆ ತನಕ ಬರೀ ಇನ್ಕಮ್ ಟ್ಯಾಕ್ಸ್ ಅಂಡ್ GST ಮಾತಾಡಿಸ್ಬೇಕು.
AC ಇರಬೇಕು, ನಿಮ್ಮಂಥವ್ರು ಮಾತಾಡಬೇಕು.
ಅದು ನಿಮ್ಮ ದೊಡ್ಡ ಗುಣ ಸರ್.
ಇಲ್ಲ ಸರ್,
ಆದರೆ ಇಷ್ಟು ವಾಸ್ಟ್ ಸಬ್ಜೆಕ್ಟ್ ಇರೋದ್ರಿಂದ ವಿ ರಿಕ್ವೈರ್ ಮೋರ್ ಟೈಮ್ ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ of course there are better experts, our opinion ನಾವು ತಗೊಂಡಾಗ it will be very good, and I thank ICAI and the Bangalore branch of SIRC of ICAI for providing me an opportunity to come and speak to you all. ಒಂಥರ ಈ ವಿದ್ವತ್ ಗೋಷ್ಠಿ ಅಂತಲೇ ನಾವು ಇದನ್ನು ಕರಿಬೋದು. ನಿಮ್ಮೆಲ್ಲ ವೆರಿ ಲರ್ನೆಡ್ ಪೀಪಲ್ in front of you, if we are speaking, it is honor for me, I feel. Thank you very much for listening to this very small person for almost 1.5 hours.
And I would like to thank him for all his effort, time and support. I would request CA Raghavendra sir to come up and provide a memento as a token of appreciation to sir. Thank you very much members for continued support and staying for the day long session. Thank you very much. We close for the day.